Chapter 141, 12 Light-Year Divine Body. Was that the supreme rule descending to congratulate me just now? Yue Ming opened his eyes slowly. For a moment confusion flickered across his pupils, then it receded. His consciousness had followed the endless golden light and spread across the dimensional universe. In a blur he saw it all, the hidden corners, the countless lives, and felt as if they were bowing and prostrating before him. This was the true perfect gene level. Reaching the fourth gene level meant joining the ranks of truly perfect life. Yue Ming silently measured the results of his breakthrough. He was vastly stronger than before. When he had broken through to the 90,000-fold gene level, he had gained the infinite divine body. Now, at the 100,000-fold gene level, the infinite divine body had been further strengthened. Beyond that, he had acquired the abilities to become formless and invisible. He could now perfectly conceal his aura and flawlessly simulate other auras. Perfect concealment meant even his life aura could be hidden. Perfect simulation let him pass as any living being. Within the allowance of the original universe's will and the supreme rule, the limit of the infinite divine body is 12 light-years. But reaching 12 light-years isn't easy. It requires long-term accumulation. Fortunately, I have the divine power absorption talent secret technique. Yue Ming's figure vanished from the ruined miniature universe. He teleported back to the primordial universe, broke through space, and entered the spatial interlayer. At the deepest point of the spatial torrent layer, he activated the Hongmeng bead to project his divine kingdom, then slipped into the divine hall to begin secluded cultivation. He performed the divine power absorption secret technique, communicating with the origin land of the universe and drawing divine power from the ocean of divine power. At the same time, he began to comprehend the fire origin law. The fire origin law has been fully comprehended. Blessed by the Bodhi tree, Yue Ming finished comprehending the fire origin law in just over 20 years. The improvement in his divine body, however, hadn't been linear. Early on, the divine body was small and absorbed divine power slowly. As the divine body's volume grew, absorption speed would soar exponentially. It was the same principle as Luo Feng's endless Yuhai clone from the original story: slow accumulation at first, then explosive growth later. The larger the divine body, the faster it absorbed divine power, an advantage like the difference between an ordinary person and a billionaire. Fusion. Yue Ming activated the Golden Finger Law fusion device and forced the Fire Origin Law into the 3-element fusion law. The fusion immediately became a 4-element fusion law. Over the next 100+ years, he continued absorbing divine power while also creating the third form of the heaven-severing sword technique. That third form was a 4-element attack secret technique. Its power exceeded the Universe Lord secret technique tier and reached the level of a true god 9th stage attack secret technique. My divine body has finally reached 1 light-year. Once it hit 1 light-year, the absorption speed skyrocketed. In 70 years, the divine body reached the 12 light-year limit permitted by the universe's original will. That was the power of the divine power absorption secret technique. Without it, he would have needed centuries of accumulation to approach 12 light-years. During those 70 years, he also fully comprehended the Earth Origin Law and gained insights into the Gold Origin Law. After forcibly integrating the Earth Origin Law into the 4-element fusion law, Yue Ming did not end his seclusion. Instead, he spent another 600+ years creating the 4th form of the heaven-severing sword technique and cultivating the 6th layer of the heaven-severing sword intent. When the heaven-severing sword intent reached its 6th layer, Yue Ming's will impact broke through again, arriving at the void true god level. Rank: Universe Lord, 5th stage. Realm: 5-element fusion law, Earth, Fire, Wood, Water, Space, Gold Origin Law, 21% will impact, void true god level will impact. Gene: 100,000 times secret techniques, heaven-severing sword intent, 6th layer, heaven-severing sword technique, 4th form. He had been in seclusion for over 800 years, but the gains were enormous. The 4th form of the heaven-severing sword technique had risen to the true god 8th stage level, and with the blessing of the heaven-severing sword intent, it could rival 9th stage true god attack secret techniques. Combined with his void true god level will impact, No one in this dimensional universe could threaten him now. The chat group has changed a lot. Even while secluded, Yue Ming left a trace of consciousness in the chat group and watched its changes over the centuries. The biggest change was the membership growth. Over the years, the group had gained many new members. It currently had 231 members. There had originally been 243, but over time, the chat group had released more than 20 elementary group missions, and over a dozen new members had died carrying them out. Most newcomers had poor potential. Their transmigration worlds were low-ranked, or their golden fingers were weak. Only a few were promising. One such newcomer, Liu Qingqing, showed excellent potential and a good chance of breaking through to the 6th stage. She had transmigrated to a major thousand worlds and obtained a quality golden finger called Infinite Fishing, ranked 555th on the Golden Finger leaderboard. Infinite Fishing allowed one to fish for treasures across all heavens and myriad worlds, but it required bait, luck. Continue in seclusion. Strive to become invincible in the primordial universe as soon as possible. Another century passed. Yue Ming had comprehended 89% of the Gold Origin Law when an email from the primordial Chaos City Lord arrived. He was to attend the Giant Axe meeting. The Giant Axe meeting was a high-level assembly of the human race. When it was convened, it meant something important had happened. Universe lords and the race's strongest typically attended. Because the meeting was called by the Great Axe founder, it was known as the Giant Axe meeting. Yue Ming logged into the virtual universe and arrived at the Giant Axe temple. Many towering figures were already seated along both sides of the long stone table in the hall, but their expressions were tense and grim. The sight gave him a bad premonition. According to the Swallowed Star plotline, nothing major had been happening in the human race or even in the primordial universe during this period. He noticed most universe lords were present, but 3 were still missing: Master of Barren Mirror, Lord Longxing, and Lord Bingfeng. Then the Great Axe founder appeared. The universe lords rose in reverence, but the founder's face was grave and he radiated killing intent. He swept his gaze across the crowd and finally fixed his eyes on Yue Ming. By the founder's demeanor, it was clear he had something to say to him. Chapter 142, The Lord of the Universe Falls. Galaxy, I have very bad news. Your teacher, Ice Peak Lord, and Master of Barren Mirror have both fallen in the Universe Sea. Even Lord Longxing was suppressed by Purple Moon Holy Land. That's why the 3 of them didn't come to the Giant Axe meeting. Great Axe founder's face was grim. The moment he mentioned Purple Moon Holy Land, killing intent flared from him like a dark tide. The other universe lords wore similar expressions, sober, heavy. It was clear some of them had known for a while. What? Yue Ming's face changed instantly. He leapt to his feet, his aura flaring and a terrifying killing intent bursting out. Galaxy, calm down. Primordial Chaos City Lord hurried to soothe him. He was angry and grief-stricken over Ice Peak Lord's fall, but he knew rage wouldn't help. In crises like this, a clear head was more valuable than fury. Senior Marshal Uncle, who killed my teacher? Was it Purple Moon Holy Land? Yue Ming demanded. Great Axe founder had just named Purple Moon Holy Land and said they had suppressed Lord Longxing, so it was natural to assume Ice Peak Lord and Master of Barren Mirror had been done in by them. No. Junior brother Ice Peak and Barren Mirror were killed by True God Yanshan and True God Lanming of East Emperor Holy Land, Primordial Chaos City Lord said, his expression heavy. Everyone fell silent. Primordial Chaos City Lord couldn't understand what madness had gripped Purple Moon Holy Land and East Emperor Holy Land, what had driven them to suddenly turn on the human race. The human race was in a precarious position. Under Great Axe Founder's direction, the Universe Lords were already beginning to evacuate the Universe Sea to avoid greater losses. True God Yanshan. True God Lanming. A cold light flickered in Yue Ming's eyes as killing intent surged in his chest. His teacher had treated him kindly. Yue Ming would not let that debt go unavenged. I'll find a way to revive my teacher, he muttered to himself. It was possible to resurrect a fallen Universe Lord, but the cost was devastating. Even a 10th Order True God who tried such a thing risked being destroyed by the backlash. If a True God couldn't bear it, breaking through to Void True God, or even Eternal True God, would be only a matter of time for Yue Ming. One thing is certain, the two Holy Lands move is related to Luo Feng. After Purple Moon Holy Land suppressed Lord Longxing, they didn't kill him. They demanded we hand over Luo Feng. They promised, if we did, to release Lord Longxing and compensate the human race with a supreme treasure. Lord Penggong's voice cut in. From his tone, it was clear he was inclined to hand Luo Feng over. From his perspective, trading a genius of 10 million eras for a universe lord and a supreme treasure was an irresistible bargain. That has to be Purple Moon Holy Land's excuse. Luo Feng has never even set foot in the universe sea. How could he possibly have offended them? Primordial Chaos City Lord objected first. Luo Feng was his personal disciple. He wouldn't surrender him for anything, even a supreme treasure. If a race would betray its own people for the sake of a treasure, then what business would that race have existing? Yue Ming said coolly, casting a glance at Lord Penggong. As someone of the same Earth lineage, he opposed handing over Luo Feng, just as Primordial Chaos City Lord did. Galaxy, it's not as simple as that, Primordial Chaos City Lord murmured, shaking his head. He understood Lord Penggong. The man wasn't selfish, he was merely thinking of the bigger picture. Even if Purple Moon Holy Land truly compensated them, the supreme treasure would not be for Lord Penggong. It would go to Great Axe Founder first. Regarding Luo Feng, we will not discuss handing him over, Great Axe Founder declared. We lack supreme treasures, yes, but we are not so low as to betray our own people for them. As for rescuing Lord Longxing, we will find a way. With Great Axe Founder's ruling, the others fell silent. Any ideas of trading Luo Feng evaporated. Besides demanding Luo Feng, Purple Moon Holy Land and East Emperor Holy Land have jointly issued a bounty, 3 supreme treasures for Zuo Shanke, someone added. That's odd, another Universe Lord said. Zuo Shanke doesn't seem to have any grudges against the 2 Holy Lands. Why would they put a bounty on him and offer 3 supreme treasures? Earth was altered by Zuo Shanke. Could Purple Moon Holy Land's demand for Luo Feng be connected to Zuo Shanke? A third suggested. The Universe Lords argued heatedly. The more Yue Ming heard, the stranger the matter seemed. The 2 Holy Lands demanded Luo Feng and posted a bounty on Zuo Shanke, both moves that didn't fit with known motives. Luo Feng was only a World Lord rank now, a relatively famous genius in the human race, but someone who had never entered the Universe Sea. The 2 Holy Lands shouldn't even know of his existence. Everything was inexplicable. Great Axe Founder, evacuate the Universe Sea at once. The 2 Holy Lands may strike again. I will personally avenge my teacher, and I'll take on the mission to rescue Lord Longxing, Yue Ming announced. Galaxy, Primordial Chaos City Lord began. I've already forged a True God 8th Stage attack secret technique. With special amplification methods, it can rival a True God 9th Stage attack secret technique. I can also break through to the True God realm at any time. Yue Ming continued, letting his strength be known. With his current power, few in the dimensional universe could threaten him, and there was no need to conceal it. He had to go to the Universe Sea to investigate why the 2 Holy Lands were targeting Luo Feng and Zuo Shanke. Without answers, he couldn't rest. What? The room erupted. Even Great Axe Founder stared in shock. No one had expected Yue Ming to possess such strength. Well done, well done. Even though junior brother Ice Peak has fallen, teaching a disciple like you allows him to rest in peace, someone exclaimed. So now our human race has another universe strongest, another breathed. Ha ha ha! Excellent! Our race has given birth to a new universe strongest. Relief spread among the Universe Lords. Being targeted by 2 Holy Lands in the Universe Sea was a crushing pressure. Yue Ming's revealed power lifted a huge burden. Don't worry, we've already evacuated Collapsing Peak World and are heading back to the Primordial Universe, Great Axe Founder said, his voice thick with emotion. For endless years he had carried the fate of the human race on his shoulders. Yue Ming's newfound True God-level strength, close to True God 9th Stage, made him feel the first real ease in ages. After everyone returns to the primordial universe, do not act rashly. Our human race must not join the 2 Holy Lands' bounty on Zuo Shanke. I'll depart for the Universe Sea at once, Great Axe Founder ordered. Zuo Shanke was only a true god now, but in his previous life he had been a god king who knew what unknown arts he possessed. Great Axe Founder feared the Universe Lords, tempted by the promise of 3 supreme treasures, might recklessly pursue Zuo Shanki and bring greater calamity. Yue Ming nodded inwardly. The matter of Luo Feng and Zuo Shanki required careful investigation. If the human race was to survive this storm, they would need answers, and people willing to act with courage and restraint. Chapter 143, Seeking Advice from Sectmaster Tongtian. Don't worry, Great Axe founder said. We won't pick a fight with Zuo Shanki just for a supreme treasure. If possible, our human race would gladly help Zuo Shanki. The East Emperor Holy Land dared to kill one of our universe lords, another voice rumbled. This can't go unanswered. After I send Chaos and the others back to the primordial universe, I'll go to the Universe Sea to find you. Together, we'll settle the score with the East Emperor Holy Land. Killing intent rolled off Great Axe founder like a dark tide. If not for the bigger picture, escorting the human race's universe lords out of the Universe Sea, he would have long ago sought retribution. Though he officially stood at the True God 8th stage, his actual combat strength rivaled a True God 9th stage. Even without a supreme treasure, he was one of the Universe Sea's top-tier powerhouses. Let's leave it for now, he finally said. I'm heading to the Universe Sea immediately, first to meet all of you, and second to find out what caused this. The Universe Lords of the human race had already been led away by Great Axe founder, but who could say whether the two Holy Lands would pursue them? It felt safer to meet in person. After exiting the virtual universe, Yue Ming instantly teleported toward the Universe Sea. Great Axe founder had already sent him coordinates and a retreat route with a rendezvous point marked on it. Still, the Universe Sea was immense. Teleporting alone would take ages. Fortunately, natural wormholes, black hole-like paths, offered ultra-long distance transmission and saved a great deal of time. While traveling through one of those wormholes, Yue Ming split off a wisp of consciousness and messaged Li Shanhe in the chat group, hoping for help analyzing the situation. Yue Ming, 5th stage. Li Shanhe, something's happened here. The Purple Moon Holy Land and East Emperor Holy Land in the universe. Sea inexplicably demanded the human race hand over Luo Feng. They even offered 3 supreme treasures as bounties for Zuo Shanke. There's something strange about all this. Do you think there could be other transmigrators in the Sword Star world? Li Shanhe, 6th stage. According to the chat group rules, 2 transmigrators aren't sent to the same world. If another force, or a stray transmigrator, entered the Swallowed Star world, the chat group would notify you. Are you sure the plot change in Swallowed Star isn't the result of something you did? Yue Ming frowned. He hadn't interacted with anyone in the Universe Sea. He was certain he hadn't changed the plot himself. Yue Ming, 5th stage. I haven't even interacted with beings in the Universe Sea. I'm sure the plot change isn't my doing. Li Shanhe, 6th stage. That is strange. The Swallowed Star plot shouldn't change without reason. Ask Sectmaster Tongtian. He'll know. Yue Ming, 5th stage. I'm not familiar with Sectmaster Tongtian. If I ask him directly, he might ignore me. Could you ask him for me? Don't sell yourself short. Among chat group members, you've got great potential. Breaking through to 6th stage and becoming an administrator is only a matter of time. Sectmaster Tongtian has had you on his radar. Go ask him yourself. Yue Ming. Fine, I'll ask him. If he brushes me off, you can step in. Li Shanhe, 6th stage. Go ahead. Sectmaster Tongtian's easy to talk to. You'll see. Yue Ming opened the member list, found Sectmaster Tongtian, and sent a private message. Yue Ming, 5th stage. Sectmaster, I'd like to ask you something. Recently, the plot in the Swallowed Star world I transmigrated to has changed drastically for no reason. I suspect there might be other transmigrators there. Sectmaster Tongtian, 9th rank. I'll investigate for you. Relief flooded Yue Ming. If Tongtian was looking into it, answers would likely come quickly. After all, he was a 9th rank transcendent. A few minutes later, Sectmaster Tongtian replied with what he'd found. Chaos, Sectmaster Tongtian, 9th rank. Several millennia ago, centuries before you transmigrated, a newcomer from Chat Group 97 once transmigrated to the Swallowed Star world. They didn't go to the 3,000-dimensional universe, but to the origin continent, and they fell soon after. The plot change in Swallowed Star might be related to that transmigrator. Swallowed Star Ming, 5th stage. Thank you, Sectmaster. I understand. Yue Ming's expression darkened. He was almost certain the plot shift tied back to that Chat Group 97 transmigrator. By Chat Group rules, only one transmigrator is normally assigned per world, but if a transmigrator falls, the group can redeploy. It now seemed that before Yue Ming ever arrived, someone else had already been in the Swallowed Star world, and that person had gone to the origin continent and then fallen. The Swallowed Star novel had been wildly popular. It made sense the earlier transmigrator would have read it. Even if that person died, they might have already leaked elements of the plot. That would explain why the Purple Moon Holy Land and East Emperor Holy Land suddenly targeted the human race, why they demanded Luo Feng and dangled 3 supreme treasures as a bounty on Zuo Shanke. For now, this remained conjecture. Yue Ming planned to verify the theory once he reached the Universe C. Great Axe Founder! After jumping through a succession of natural wormholes for several years, Yue Ming finally arrived at the rendezvous point. Yine, he called. Several universe lords appeared battered, more than half of their divine power depleted. They'd clearly been in continual combat and had used up their recovery treasures. Yue Ming had already purchased a stash of divine power recovery items from the Chat Group Mall. Seeing their condition, he offered them to those who needed them. Great Axe Founder, I'll leave the escort back to the primordial universe to you, Yue Ming said. I'm going to investigate the cause of this first. Afterwards, we'll meet at the Purple Moon Holy Land and work out a way to rescue Lord Longxing. Be careful, Great Axe Founder replied. Knowing Yue Ming's true strength, effectively that of a true god 9th stage, Great Axe Founder was not overly concerned. Unless Yue Ming was swarmed by a cluster of 7th and 8th stage true gods, no one in the Universe C could stop him from escaping if he chose to. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I won't act rashly. After parting ways, Yue Ming once again plunged through natural black holes toward the East Emperor Holy Land. Even with those ultra-long-distance paths, the Universe C was so vast that the journey would still take well over a century. Chapter 144, Killing the Universe Strongest, Purchase the Chaos Sword Embryo. Ding. 3 origin points deducted. After searching the Chat Group Mall for a long time, Yue Ming finally found a 7th-tier supreme treasure that suited him perfectly, the Chaos Sword Embryo. Countless powerful beings prowled the Universe C, and many true gods possessed supreme treasures. The sky-blue sword he had been using was too weak to bear the full extent of his power. It was only a high-grade supreme treasure containing the water-space origin law. But Yue Ming had already mastered the 5-element fusion law, so the sky-blue sword no longer matched him. What he bought now was a 3-foot stone weapon, part staff, part sword. Its edge was unsharpened, its body suffused with chaos chi and carved with primal chaos secret runes. According to the Chat Group Mall's description, the sword embryo had been nurtured within chaos for countless years and contained the chaos law itself, an innate chaos supreme treasure. It took Yue Ming decades of traveling and refining before the Chaos Sword embryo was fully honed. Its quality was so high, he couldn't release its full power. Even so, a mere 10,000th of its might raised his combat class by an entire level, putting him on par with a true god's 10th tier. Coupled with his 12 light-year colossal divine body, he was effectively invincible in the Universe C. He stepped through a natural black hole and immediately bumped into an old acquaintance, the Void True Demon God. You're just in time to be my sword's sacrifice, Yue Ming said, without forgetting how arrogant the Void True Demon God had once been when he brazenly invaded the primal universe and demanded the primordial Chaos City Lord hand him over. Seeing him now, right after refining the Chaos Sword embryo, felt like fate, if one believed in fate. The Swallowed Star World didn't, but the coincidence was welcome. Lord of Galaxy, the Void True Demon God said, eyes narrowing. News of Yue Ming's breakthrough to Universe Lord had spread through the primordial universe, and the Void True Demon God had certainly heard it. Killing intent flared. He had once tried to assassinate Yue Ming before. If Yue Ming grew to true god, he might come for revenge. While Yue Ming had been hiding inside the primordial universe, he might not have been able to reach him, combat strength capped at 6th tier there. But here, in the Universe C, he finally had the chance. He wouldn't miss it. "You want to kill me?" Yue Ming sneered. "Coincidentally, I want to kill you too." The void true demon god laughed, a mocking sound that contained an intangible demonic pressure. He had become a true god by mastering the Tao of illusions and excelled at soul illusion attacks. His own power was formidable, true god 8th tier, and he wore a supreme treasure armor. Very few in the Universe C could contend with him. He unleashed a subtle soul illusion toward Yue Ming. The attack crawled like a shadow, seeking to erode his soul. Yue Ming detected it and activated the Chaos Sword Embryo. The weapon quivered and let out a piercing sword cry. Wherever the cry passed, soul illusions shattered into nothing. "Junior, you surprise me," the void true demon god muttered, masking a flicker of greed. The sword embryo's power had appeared contained, like an ordinary stone blade, but that it could counter his soul illusions meant it was no ordinary relic at all. "If you hand it over, I might spare your life," the void true demon god offered, eyes cold. "If you can endure 3 of my strikes, you might still live. Otherwise, you'll become my soul slave." Yue Ming activated the Chaos Sword Embryo and unleashed the 4th form of the heaven-severing sword technique. A blinding streak of sword light tore through space-time as if it intended to split the Chaos Sea itself. The void true demon god's expression changed. Black gold armor, dark and blood-stained, erupted across his body, and a void-like realm blossomed around him. The sword light cut through that void and slammed into the mysterious armor, piercing it. "Impossible!" the void true demon god bellowed. The first strike had not only shredded his supreme treasure armor, it had annihilated 15% of his divine body. Even weakened by the armor, the blow had taken a devastating toll. Yue Ming struck again, releasing the 4th form of the heaven-severing sword technique and augmenting it with the heaven-severing sword intent. The combined force reached the level of a true god 10th tier secret attack. The void true demon god roared and summoned his greatest trick, true illusion, conjuring the image of an ancient ferocious god to swallow the attack. But the Chaos Sword Embryo's cry shattered the illusion as if it had been glass. "I have supreme armor protecting me," the void true demon god snarled as a last defense. "I roam the Universe C. No one can kill me." A final sword light swept through him and annihilated his divine body completely. Only a tattered husk of his supreme treasure armor remained floating in the void. Yue Ming reached out and the ruined armor flew into his hand. In front of the Chaos Sword Embryo, a divine rank supreme treasure was nothing but scrap. Not even a God King level artifact could stand before it. Yue Ming's colossal divine body didn't need armor. Divine rank defenses were useless to him. After disposing of the void true demon god, Yue Ming resumed his ultra-long-distance teleportation through natural black holes. Decades later, he arrived at the East Emperor Holy Land universe. In the 3 reincarnation eras, most true gods' miniature universes were 100 million light-years across, with the Purple Moon's Sacred Land and the East Emperor Holy Land as exceptions. The East Emperor Holy Land universe spanned 3.2 billion light-years, vast compared to the others. Though the East Emperor Ancestor and the Universe Strongest rarely entered the Universe C, hundreds of Universe Lords still roamed it. 4th-tier Universe Lords counted as lower ranks, 5th tier as upper ranks, and 6th tier Universe Lords who possessed supreme treasures were the true peaks. Even without the Universe Strongest present, the sheer number of Universe Lords commanded respect. "First, I'll pay my respects to the East Emperor Ancestor," Yue Ming decided. He teleported to the edge of the East Emperor Holy Land universe, fully charged the Chaos Sword Embryo, and with the heaven-severing sword intent amplified, unleashed his strongest strike. The terrifying sword light smashed into the membrane wall of the East Emperor Holy Land universe. Chapter 145, Kill Them One by One, Boom. Under Yue Ming's full activation, the Chaos Sword Embryo erupted with blinding sword light. It slammed into the membrane of the East Emperor Holy Land universe, pierced the membrane of the contained miniature universe, and ripped a huge crack through it. But the chaos chi that surged with the strike was immediately sucked away by the East Emperor Holy Land universe. The wound in the membrane began to knit closed at a visible rate and snapped back to normal almost as quickly as it had torn. Yue Ming stood in the void, watching with calm that betrayed no surprise. An attack of only 10th order true god power could hardly be expected to break a Holy Land universe's defenses. The only reason the membrane had been breached at all was the unmatched keen edge of the Chaos Sword embryo. Otherwise, even a 10th order true god strike could not have made such damage, let alone tear a great fissure. Within the East Emperor Holy Land universe, in the ancestral god temple, East Emperor Ancestor's expression shifted. His gaze pierced endless time and space and fixed on Yue Ming. As Universe Lord of the East Emperor Holy Land universe, he could sense any disturbance within his domain. The instant Yue Ming struck, East Emperor Ancestor knew. East Emperor, come out and meet me. At the edge of the Holy Land universe, Yue Ming raised his sword and his voice cut through time and space, echoing across the entire East Emperor domain. Who dares wreak havoc in my East Emperor Holy Land universe? Has the East Emperor been silent so long that the world has forgotten our dignity? To dare to call me by name, this one deserves to die. Yue Ming's words stirred countless ancient existences. Many of them were universe strongest. The entire East Emperor Holy Land universe erupted into alarm. Which faction's Universe Lord are you, to be so presumptuous here? More than a dozen Universe Lords demanded as they flowed out of the Holy Land universe, faces hard, instantly surrounding Yue Ming. Yue Ming didn't waste a word. He wielded the Chaos Sword embryo and, in a flash, cut down every one of them. Universe Lords of a Holy Land, universe had cultivated for untold ages. By technique, by supreme treasures, by combat experience, they were far stronger than Universe Lords from the Universe Sea. Yet against Yue Ming's blade, origin meant nothing. Not a single supreme treasure could withstand that terrifying stroke. How dare you? Yue Ming moved too fast. Before the true gods of the East Emperor Holy Land universe could respond, he had already slain more than a dozen Universe Lords. 3 true gods rushed out of the Holy Land universe, each brandishing a supreme treasure and charging him. Yue Ming brought the Chaos Sword embryo to bear again, executing the 4th form of the Heaven-Severing Sword technique. Amplified by the Heaven-Severing Sword intent, his strike reached 10th order true god levels. With 2 sword blows, he cut down the 3 true gods. The Chaos Sword embryo is too sharp. He claimed 3 supreme treasures from their corpses, but each had been severely maimed by the sword's edge. Stop! You are outmatched. Just as the East Emperor's remaining true gods prepared to swarm him, East Emperor Ancestor finally manifested. Though it was only his divine power incarnation, his main body remained on the origin continent. He fixed Yue Ming with a long, grave look. The attack Yue Ming had unleashed could rival a 10th order true god. Ordinary true gods simply could not contend with that power. Worse, the Chaos Sword embryo's cutting edge dismissed supreme treasures as if they were tissue. Many void true god level weapons would not survive a single strike. East Emperor Ancestor could see clearly that even if all the Holy Land's true gods combined, they would likely be unable to hold Yue Ming in place. You are East Emperor? I have 2 things to settle with you. First, hand over the murderers of my late master, Yan Shan and Lan Ming. Second, explain why your forces are targeting the human race, specifically why you've gone after Luo Feng and Zuo Shanke. If the being before him had been the ancestor's true body, Yue Ming might have shown some caution. But this was only a divine power incarnation. As long as Yue Ming didn't enter the East Emperor Holy Land universe, it couldn't harm him. What if I refuse? East Emperor Ancestor's face went cold. Yue Ming's tone was insolent, utterly dismissive of him. I can't break your Holy Land. Fine, I'll guard this place. For every living being that comes out of your East Emperor Holy Land, I will kill one. Let's see who lasts longer. The true gods bristled. If that came to pass, wouldn't the East Emperor Holy Land be shamed across the Universe Sea? Young man, why the hostility? This is not the place for a quarrel. Come into the Holy Land and we can talk. Ask what you want. I'll answer. Do you think I'm stupid enough to walk into your Holy Land? How could he possibly enter? If he did, he would be led like a fish to the chopping block. Yan Shan and Lan Ming are true gods of my East Emperor Holy Land. I will not hand them over. Seeing that Yue Ming wouldn't be baited, East Emperor Ancestor's expression hardened. But with Yue Ming refusing to enter, there was nothing he could do, at least for now. I can kill those two another time, Yue Ming went on. But why do your two great Holy Land universes hunt Zuo Shanqi and try to force my human race to hand over Luo Feng? If you don't explain that, Yan Shan and Lan Ming could be dealt with later. Yue Ming needed to know why the Holy Lands had singled out Zuo Shanqi and Luo Feng. Zuo Shanqi offended our two great Holy Land universes. Pursuing him is only natural. And Luo Feng, he's Zuo Shanqi's disciple. We must nip the root of the evil. East Emperor Ancestor's reply sounded reasonable on the surface, but Yue Ming was not convinced. He raised the Hongmeng bead above his head. It floated, radiating a dazzling divine light that bathed him. The bead's light spread across hundreds of thousands of light years, shielding him from the Holy Land's universe source surveillance. With that protection, Yue Ming could speak freely. You were soul enslavement on the Origin Continent. At the name of the Origin Continent, East Emperor Ancestor's shock flashed across his face before he recovered. From that brief expression, Yue Ming was almost certain East Emperor and Purple Moon really might have been soul enslavements on the Origin Continent. Tell me, who is your master? Yue Ming pressed. If you're targeting Zuo Shanqi, then his old enemy must be pulling your strings. East Emperor Ancestor bristled. Preposterous. How could I, the ancestor of a Holy Land, be soul enslavement? And how do you even know of the Origin Continent? He cast a covetous glance at the Hongmeng bead above Yue Ming's head. Your master is a pile of filth, Yue Ming spat. The insult struck a raw nerve. Beings bound by soul enslavement were not only controlled in life and death, their minds had been remolded. They identified with their masters, made their masters' interests their own. If the master demanded it, they would willingly give their most precious things, their treasures, their lives, even the welfare of their clan. Yue Ming's contempt for East Emperor Ancestor's master cut straight to that loyalty. Presumptuous! East Emperor Ancestor's face darkened with fury. But Yue Ming did not stop there. He laughed, loud and harsh, and made his accusation public. Ha ha! Look at you! You've been soul enslaved and turned into someone else's docile dog. The true gods and the countless universe lords of the East Emperor Holy Land universe stiffened. They had seen East Emperor Ancestor's momentary hesitation when Yue Ming mentioned the Origin Continent. Now Yue Ming's words dragged that suspicion into the open. Chapter 146, Shaking the Universe Sea. From what Sect Master Tongtian had said, that a transmigrator sent by the chat group arrived in the Swallowed Star world before his own transmigration, and that this transmigrator had even reached the Origin Continent, Yue Ming had already grown suspicious. Seeing East Emperor Ancestor's reaction now confirmed it. Both East Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor had been soul enslaved by someone. No wonder they had suddenly singled out Zuo Shanqi and Luo Feng. Everything fit. Why did action only come from the Origin Continent after millennia? Likely, the other side had spent ages searching for the two ancestors across the vast, boundless Origin Continent. Finding them within a few millennia would mean either extraordinary luck or immense power, or both. What I needed to know, I now know, Yue Ming said. Tell your master this, whether he bears a grudge against Zuo Shanqi, covets Luo Feng's opportunity, or both, he will not succeed. There were two possible motives for East Emperor Ancestor's master to target Zuo Shanqi and Luo Feng: eliminate an enemy in Zuo Shanqi, or seize the opportunity in Luo Feng. The Star Tower, Li Yuan Technique, and World Beast King were prizes even a God King would crave. Having said his piece, Yue Ming turned and left. It was impossible for the East Emperor Holy Land universe to hand over True God Yanshan and True God Lanming. Lingering there would be futile. He would have to seek another opportunity to avenge his teacher. Lord of Galaxy, why are you arriving only now? I've been waiting decades. After nearly a century of travel by using a natural black hole for long-distance teleportation, Yue Ming finally arrived in the Purple Moon Sacred Land universe. Great Axe founder, who had been expecting him for decades, appeared as soon as he sensed Yue Ming's aura. He had feared something had happened to him. Great Axe founder! Yue Ming materialized beside him, greeted him, and quickly recounted his encounter at the East Emperor Holy Land universe. You encountered Void True Demon God and killed him, and in the East Emperor Holy Land you killed 3 of their true gods right under East Emperor Ancestor's nose? Great Axe Founder's eyes widened in disbelief. Yue Ming didn't waste time explaining. He tossed 4 tattered supreme treasures to Great Axe founder. Their condition spoke louder than words. These 4 supreme treasures are badly damaged, but their secret patterns are mostly intact. They should be repairable. Have them fixed and keep them. I don't need them, Yue Ming said. Great Axe founder examined them and frowned. The true gods of the East Emperor Holy Land rarely left their own universe, so he didn't recognize their artifacts, but he knew Void True Demon God well. The shred supreme treasure armor before him was unmistakably Void True Demon God's. How did you manage this? Great Axe founder asked. How did you reduce a perfect supreme treasure armor to such a state? Yue Ming produced a stone sword, the Chaos Sword Embryo. Unactivated, its divine power was latent and unnoticeable. Since we're in the Purple Moon Sacred Land universe, let's first confront Purple Moon Ancestor. He activated the Chaos Sword Embryo. A sword intent flared and struck the universe membrane of the Purple Moon Sacred Land, tearing a huge rift in it. Great Axe founder, swallowed hard. He finally understood how Yue Ming had been able to kill 3 true gods in front of East Emperor Ancestor and leave unharmed. That single sword intent had been at least equivalent to a true god's 10th tier attack. Purple Moon, come out and face me. You already know what happened at the East Emperor Holy Land. Hand over Lord Long Xing, or I will slaughter every living thing I find in your Purple Moon Holy Land until your people no longer dare enter the universe sea. Yue Ming roared. Both East Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor had been soul enslaved and must have been together in the origin continent. If Purple Moon refused, they would find themselves at war. Lord Long Xing is right here. If you want to save him, exchange him for Luo Feng or Zuo Shanqi. Purple Moon Ancestor's voice came back. He appeared surrounded by more than a dozen true gods, escorting Lord Long Xing. Yue Ming had no way to break into the Purple Moon Sacred Land universe to rescue Lord Long Xing. Neither did he expect to be able to destroy the binding on a sealed universe lord there. If Purple Moon refused, Yue Ming would have no option but to kill Long Xing to prevent him from being soul enslaved, then find a way to revive him later. Lord of Galaxy, you surely don't mean to kill a universe lord? Great Axe founder said, aghast. Yue Ming had discussed it with him beforehand. If rescuing Long Xing was impossible and the alternative was letting him be enslaved, killing him to preserve his true essence and seeking revival later was the lesser evil. Fortunately, the Purple Moon people had not harmed or soul-enslaved Long Xing in order to force the human race. Otherwise, Yue Ming would have truly had no choice. Yue Ming fully activated the Chaos Sword Embryo and unleashed the 4th form of the Heaven-Severing Sword technique. Under the Heaven-Severing Sword Intense augmentation, he struck out 10 sword intents in succession. The sword intent sliced through chaos itself. Wherever it passed, the fabric of reality split, clear chi surged upward, and turbid chi fell. Space ripped apart, time warped, and an unimaginably terrifying shockwave radiated outward, wreaking havoc. The Purple Moon Sacred Land universe's membrane was shredded by the sword intent. The razor-sharp strikes continued, driving fiercely toward Purple Moon Ancestor. Mere child's play, Purple Moon Ancestor sneered. From inside his own Holy Land universe, how could a sword intent harm him? With a wave of his hand, he mobilized his Holy Land's power and instantly obliterated the sword intents, or so he thought. What Purple Moon Ancestor failed to notice was that not all the sword intents were aimed at him. One had been carefully directed at Lord Long Xing. Boom. Long Xing's power had long been sealed. Under Yue Ming's full-force blow, his divine body was annihilated, destroyed beyond revival. Purple Moon Ancestor's face went ashen. No one had anticipated this. Yue Ming and Great Axe had been there ostensibly to rescue Lord Long Xing, so who would have expected Yue Ming to deliver the killing blow? Purple Moon, I will remember your crime of destroying a universe lord of our human race, Yue Ming said coldly. I will repay it many times over. He and Great Axe founder left immediately. Purple Moon Ancestor's expression was livid. Is that even human speech? He seethed. Yue Ming had killed Long Xing himself, yet blamed it on Purple Moon. Lord of Galaxy, are you truly confident you can revive a universe lord? Great Axe founder asked once they were away. Not yet, Yue Ming admitted, but it may be possible in the future. Yue Ming's massive divine form belied the truth. The backlash from reviving a universe lord was beyond his current capacity. Unless he could break through to void true God, or even eternal true God, the price would be too great. In the 3,000-dimensional universes, true God's 10th tier was the limit. To break through to void true God required reincarnation and passage to the origin continent. But Yue Ming could transmigrate to other worlds. When he did reach void true God, he could return to the swallowed star world as long as he found a way to shield himself from the original universe's source will and supreme rule. There were many treasures in the chat group mall that could provide such protection. Word of Yue Ming's deed spread quickly through the universe sea and caused a tremendous stir. What? The Lord of Galaxy of the human race went alone to the East Emperor Holy Land universe, and right in front of East Emperor Ancestor, killed 3 true gods of the East Emperor Holy Land? I know the Lord of Galaxy. News from the primordial universe says he's hailed as the human race's greatest prodigy in history, breaking through to Universe Lord after only a few millennia of cultivation. Your news is out of date. Not long ago, the Lord of Galaxy and great acts of the human race returned to the Purple Moon Sacred Land universe. Everyone in the universe C talked about Yue Ming's exploits. The shock of his actions reverberated everywhere. Chapter 147, The Beginning and End of the Matter. Master, that's roughly how it happened. In the origin continent, inside the grand hall of the She Kingdom's God King Palace, the 3 founding God Kings sat on their thrones. Below them, East Emperor and Purple Moon knelt, recounting truthfully what had happened in the dimensional universe. So you messed things up? The largest of the 3, a tusked giant with greenish-brown skin, wearing little more than ragged cloth, slowly opened his eyes. His cold gaze pinned East Emperor and Purple Moon. "Forgive us, Master," they stammered, trembling. Under his scrutiny, their limbs went numb and their souls shivered. "Useless. You couldn't even handle such a small task. If you weren't still useful, I would have sent you both to the boundless purgatory ages ago." The giant's voice was like a mountain crushing insects. He looked down at them, thinking how if he did not need them, they wouldn't even qualify as soul slaves. Then he muttered, puzzled, "Galaxy." In Wang Wei's account of the future, there had been no galaxy. Several millennia ago, one of the giant's disciples had been taken via possession. Because he knew his disciple well, he detected it. At first he assumed a powerful cultivator had possessed him, but when he seized that soul with a soul secret technique, he discovered the intruder was ordinary, just a soul from another world. The intruder called himself Wang Wei, a transmigrator from Earth. From Wang Wei's memories, he learned many things. The God King of Jin hadn't truly died, but had undergone reincarnation, hiding somewhere in the 3,000-dimensional universe. In his possession was a primordial chaos legacy. In the future, the God King of Jin would take a disciple named Luo Feng, an extraordinarily talented youth who, with many opportunities, would one day become a primal chaos lord. In time, Luo Feng would take revenge for his master and slay the 3 founding God Kings of the She Kingdom. Acting on what he had learned, the giant mobilized the She Kingdom's forces and spent millennia locating and enslaving the souls of East Emperor and Purple Moon in the origin continent. He intended to use them. Their combined strength might eliminate Luo Feng and Zuo Shanqi later, allowing him to seize the Li Yuan technique, the Star Tower, the World Beast King, and other opportunities for himself. But then a galaxy had appeared out of nowhere, a presence that should not have existed in Wang Wei's visions, and ruined the plan. It was important to note that when Wang Wei had been soul-enslaved, the chat group had already marked him as fallen. The chat group's protection mechanism wiped all of its memories from Wang Wei and reclaimed his golden finger. Because of that, the giant only learned part of the swallowed star's future from Wang Wei. He never learned of the chat group's existence. He kept the rest of Wang Wei's information close, never telling the others, because he intended to monopolize the opportunities for himself. The Li Yuan technique was a primordial chaos legacy. He would not share it. If he could secure the World Beast King as well, he would even attain the status of a second God King Zimu. "Second brother, third brother, I plan to infiltrate the dimensional universe and capture the God King of Jin to eliminate future troubles," he declared, keeping his true motive, seizing the legacies, unsaid. The other two god kings paid little heed. To them, a single god king of Jin, even if reincarnated, wasn't worth upheaval. Even if the god king of Jin made a miraculous recovery and rose to his peak again, they were confident they could destroy Jin once more. You decide, big brother. We have no objections, they said. The giant outlined his plan. I'll send Lanling to lead 10 Chaos Dominators, 1,000 Eternal True Gods, and 100,000 Void True Gods, split into 1,000 teams, to infiltrate the dimensional universe in batches. With 1,000 teams, at least a few should succeed. The Supreme Rule forbade beings from the origin continent to invade the 3,000-dimensional universe, both to protect those realms and to enforce cosmic balance. Exceptions existed. After all, the God King of Jin himself had once slipped through, but infiltration was perilous. A single mistake could trigger the Supreme Rule and trap intruders forever. Despite that, with enough teams, the giant believed a handful might get through. To prevent any leak of information about the Li Yuan technique and the World Beast King, he intended to enslave the souls of any participants, Lanling included, even if they were his disciples. Big brother, do you really need such a massive mobilization for just a god king of Jin? One of the other god kings asked. Sending 10 Chaos Dominators into the dimensional universe was a huge risk for an uncertain prize. Either don't do it or do it thoroughly, the giant replied firmly. The God King of Jin must be eliminated to stop future trouble. He did not reveal that elimination was only a secondary goal. His primary aim was monopolizing the legacies and opportunities for himself. He felt a twinge of regret. I shouldn't have killed Wang Wei so early. Although Wang Wei had been made a loyal soul slave, countless secrets and memory-taking techniques existed in the origin continent, so he had secretly disposed of Wang Wei to keep the affair completely hidden. Had Wang Wei lived, perhaps he could have explained the sudden appearance of Galaxy. To be safe, the giant had even erased all traces of karma related to Wang Wei, making resurrection impossible even by reversing time and space. Then, the giant looked down at the kneeling pair. I'll give you two a chance to redeem yourselves. Mess this up again, and you'll be sent to the boundless purgatory. Relief flooded East Emperor and Purple Moon. As long as they weren't cast into the boundless purgatory, they were willing to obey. Secretly, they burned with resentment toward Yue Ming. If he hadn't interfered, they wouldn't be in this predicament. Chapter 148, Meeting Zuo Shanke. Inside the giant axe temple in the virtual universe, the human race's universe lords had gathered again for a giant axe meeting. The mood was electric. Everyone wore broad, undisguised smiles. I never expected the Lord of Galaxy to be so strong. He can already wield the combat power of a 10th Order true god. Even the two great Holy Land universes suffered greatly at his hands. Ha ha! To charge alone into the East Emperor Holy Land universe, kill 3 true gods in front of the East Emperor ancestor, and return unscathed. Just thinking about it sends chills through me. Pity I wasn't there. It's a blessing for our human race to produce a prodigy like the Lord of Galaxy, unprecedented in living memory. Our race is destined to rise again. Yue Ming's exploits in the Universe C had ignited a storm of discussion. News traveled swiftly back to the primordial universe and lit it up. When 2 figures appeared in the temple, Yue Ming and the Great Axe Founder, every universe lord rose, their eyes full of respect. Lord of Galaxy, sit here, the Great Axe Founder said, waving his hand. A new seat materialized beside his own. By adding it, he was publicly elevating Yue Ming to stand alongside him. Yue Ming sat without hesitation. No one objected. Given Yue Ming's current power, he had every right to that place. About the matter of the Lord of Galaxy, everyone's heard of it, right? The Great Axe Founder asked. We've not only heard, but his deeds have spread across the entire primordial universe. Some are even calling him the strongest in the Universe C. With the Lord of Galaxy among us, our human race will rise again and reclaim its former glory. They grew animated. The human race's heyday had been under Origin Ancestor, the only 10th Order true god in the last 3 reincarnation eras. When Origin Ancestor strode the Universe C, his name alone inspired fear. He'd also cultivated many outstanding juniors for the human race. Said juniors included the Great Axe Founder himself. But Origin Ancestor had later attempted possession of the primordial universe and had been suppressed by the universe's original will, after which the race declined and never regained its peak. Now Yue Ming, like Origin Ancestor, possessed the combat power of a 10th order true god. That prospect filled the universe lords with renewed hope. Under the Great Axe Founder's leadership, they discussed how to handle the two great holy lands and the other alien races. With a Lord of Galaxy among them, hostile races might act preemptively, or even attempt to form an alliance against the human race, so they had to prepare. I plan to seek out Zuo Shanke and see if we can win him over, the Great Axe Founder proposed. He didn't know Zuo Shanke's grudges against the two great holy lands in detail, but if both sides shared an enemy, cooperation might be possible. Leave winning Zuo Shanke to me, Yue Ming said. He intended to meet Zuo Shanke personally and was confident he could persuade him. If not full allegiance, at least cooperation. Then it's settled. Lord of Galaxy will handle this. Thinking of Zuo Shanke's ties to Earth, the Great Axe Founder nodded. Yue Ming was indeed the right choice. The Giant Axe meeting adjourned. After several decades, Yue Ming and the Great Axe Founder returned to the primordial universe. Yue Ming set his course for the 7th domain outer battlefield. Star Tower, he said, teleporting directly to the outer battlefield, breaching space into the universe's secret realm, and arriving in the Star Tower battle zone. The tower rose 9 light-years high, piercing heaven and earth. Even from a great distance, its majesty was undeniable. It loomed in the void realm, drawing the galaxy's energy into itself. At its center swirled a brilliant nebula vortex that devoured endless cosmic energy, forming a 9-spiral nebula. That beautiful, dazzling nebula was a nightmare to the powerful. Any universe exalt who delved too deep would be torn apart and annihilated. Why is this little fellow at the Star Tower? A shadow inside asked as it sensed Yue Ming's arrival. The silhouette blended seamlessly into the void realm. Yue Ming spoke from outside instead of entering. Senior Zuo Shanke, please show yourself, he transmitted. Space rippled and an old man appeared. He wore a green robe. His hair and beard were snow-white, the beard hanging to his chest, giving him an immortal air. His gaze was kindly, and he smiled as he approached. Please, sit, Zuo Shanke said. Yue Ming waved, and a stone table materialized, laid with dozens of fine wines. Little fellow, speak. What do you want to see me about? Zuo Shanke asked, sitting without ceremony. You and I have some shared history. Speak plainly, Yue Ming replied. Zuo Shanke stroked his long beard as he lifted a cup and spoke pleasantly. First, I must thank you. If not for you, the Earth lineage would not be where it is today. I toast to you. In the future, if you ask of me anything within my power, I will not refuse. Yue Ming knew this was partly flattery to cultivate goodwill. A small favor was one thing. Zuo Shanke fighting to the death for him was another. Good child, you are thoughtful, Zuo Shanke said, smiling, voice gentle. He grew a little wistful as he spoke of the past. I spent great cost to craft Earth as a cradle, to nurture a race strong in soul and will. Yue Ming listened and nodded. Much of Zuo Shanke's history was already familiar to him. In my eyes, both the Flame God race and the Earthlings are my children, Zuo Shanke continued. It's a pity the Flame God race disappointed me. But your Earth produced talents like you, and Luo Feng is promising as well. Yue Ming smiled politely. He understood the subtext. Zuo Shanke had poured effort into cultivating a single outstanding individual to help him return to the origin continent and exact revenge. Those who met his standards became his children. The rest were expendable. 2 earlier legacy candidates from Earth had undergone the Star Tower's life and death legacy for over 2,000 and 3,000 years respectively. Souls of great potential, even surpassing Thunder God and Hong in some ways, with the chance to become universe lords or perhaps even a universe strongest. Yet when they failed, Zuo Shanke did not reverse time to save them. He simply abandoned them. Even Emperor Yan, a failed early experiment, was discarded without a second thought. Yue Ming understood perfectly. Zuo Shanke valued only those who could reach heights like Chaos Dominator or God King. Everyone else was a pawn. He let Zuo Shanke's words wash over him, listening without taking them to heart. Chapter 149. Reaching an Agreement. Although everything Zuo Shanke did ultimately sprang from revenge, one thing was undeniable. Many of his actions showed a genuine goodwill toward the human race. The flame god race he guided was a branch of humanity, and the Earth lineage traced back to human stock as well. Perhaps Zuoshanki believed humans carried the greatest potential. Foundations could be improved, but qualities like spirit, creativity, and comprehension were the roots of becoming a supreme existence. Maybe the former god king of Jin on Origin Continent had been human too, and that had colored Zuoshanki's view even after reincarnation. In those years, when he secretly played the role of a Blood Cloud Hall master, Zuoshanki could be said to have provoked the whole cosmos, spreading blood and tearing through the primordial universe, made an enemy of countless races. Still, conspicuously, he had never provoked humans. That alone spoke to a certain friendliness toward the human race. "I came to see you mainly to invite you to join the human race," Yue Ming said after they had talked and grown closer. "I'm used to being a free spirit," Zuoshanki replied. "I can't stand being tied down. Joining the human race, no." Yue Ming had expected refusal. With Zuoshanki's power, if he wanted to belong to a faction, he wouldn't have waited. The universe was full of forces that would have welcomed him. Yue Ming changed tack. "Do you know why the two great Holy Land universes are after you?" Zuoshank's expression darkened. He genuinely didn't know. He had enemies everywhere, but none from those two great Holy Lands. "They even put up 3 supreme treasures as a reward," he said. "I've never offended them." "I don't know everything either," Yue Ming said, "but I know enough. Want to hear? Go on." Yue Ming activated the Hongmeng bead and obscured the original universe's will. Zuoshanka's eyes widened. Even without being told, he recognized the bead as a God King level supreme treasure, and among those, a top-tier one. Yue Ming waved a hand, and a light screen unfolded between them, replaying his confrontation with East Emperor Ancestor in the East Emperor Holy Land universe. "You are East Emperor? I have 2 demands. First, hand over the murderers of my honored master, Yanshan and Lanming. Second, explain why you and your allies are targeting the human race, specifically Luo Feng and Zuoshanki." "What if I refuse? I can't break your Holy Land, but I'll guard this place. For every living being from the East Emperor Holy Land who leaves, I'll kill one. Let's see who outlasts whom." When Yue Ming mentioned Origin Continent in the screen, Zuoshanki suddenly stood, all attention. The East Emperor Ancestor's reaction, apparently he had been soul-enslaved, confirmed something crucial. The two great Holy Lands' pursuit had been instigated by someone from Origin Continent. Zuoshanki's face went grim. A killing intent, cold and old, rolled off him like a storm. Memories of Origin Continent must have clawed up from his past. "Calm down," Yue Ming said softly. Zuoshanki forced himself to sit. "What else do you know?" "Not much," Yue Ming admitted. "The legacy I obtained has some information about Origin Continent, but the Hongmeng bead is the key treasure from that legacy. Whoever on Origin Continent set this in motion clearly knows you well enough to have triggered the two great Holy Lands. Because you appeared, their plan was disrupted," Zuoshank said. "But they won't let it go. Your arrival only postponed their hunting." "We have a common enemy," Yue Ming said. "That gives us a basis to cooperate. If you help my human race, you'll help yourself." "I won't join the human race," Zuoshanka replied, "but we can cooperate on one condition. You said you have enemies on Origin Continent. When you seek revenge, you'll need allies. If you agree that I'll assist you when that time comes, I'll help your human race refine 10 supreme treasures." Zuoshanka still had high hopes for Yue Ming. With his talent and the legacy he'd obtained, Yue Ming had a real chance of passing through reincarnation and returning to Origin Continent. The Hongmeng bead betrayed a God King legacy. The path ahead looked bright. "I can promise to try. I won't do the impossible or die pointlessly for your revenge, but I'll help if I can." Zuoshanki nodded. That was reasonable. If Yue Ming had swore blind fanaticism, he wouldn't have believed him. A promise to do his best within his limits was enough. 10 supreme treasures might not be enough," Yue Ming said. "The universe lords of my race each need at least 1 supreme treasure. For myself, I want you to help me refine a God King level domain supreme treasure." Zuoshanki's brow tightened. God King level treasures weren't easy to forge. Success wasn't guaranteed. "At most, I can help refine 1 Chaos Dominator level supreme treasure." "That will do." Yue Ming had never expected Zuo Shanke to fashion a God King artifact. His real bottom line was a Chaos Dominator level domain treasure. With the Chaos Sword embryo already embedded in him, he had no use for weapon-type supreme treasures. His immense divine body made conventional supreme armors unnecessary. His soul already reached void true god levels, and the sword embryo pierced soul illusions, so soul-type treasures weren't essential. Between flying palaces and domains, a domain supreme treasure suited his future best. One condition, Zuo Shanke added, you must provide the refining materials. No problem. Yue Ming smiled. Refining materials were plentiful in the chat group mall. Fifth-tier materials were cheap and abundant. Only Chaos Dominator level refinement demanded sixth-tier materials and a heavy point cost. For Yue Ming, however, the points were trivial. They shook on it, an agreement born of mutual need, headed toward a future of shared enemies and shared resolve. Chapter 150, Star Tower Revealed. Senior, now that your enemies on the Origin continent know where you are, will they come into the dimensional universe to hunt you down? With Yue Ming's current strength, he could sweep across the universe sea. He didn't even consider the two great Holy Land universes a threat. His real worry was that someone from the Origin continent might violate the dimensional universe and come looking for him. If a God King showed up, the consequences would be disastrous. If a Chaos Dominator came, he could ask Li Shanhe for help. But Li Shanhe had only recently broken into the 6th rank. He might not be able to stop a God King. It's not impossible, Yue Ming admitted. Although the Supreme Rule forbids beings from the Origin continent from entering the 3,000-dimensional universes, rules, even supreme ones, have exceptions. If I can find a loophole with my reincarnation art, so can others. My enemies might have methods I don't know about. The Supreme Rule governed the dimensional universe, but had no consciousness. That left gaps to exploit. Still, most of them won't risk it personally. At worst, they'll send subordinates. Entering the dimensional universe is dangerous. One slip and the Supreme Rule suppresses you. Zuo Shanke's eyes narrowed. He watched Yue Ming as if trying to read him. You sound confident. Yue Ming's relief was plain enough. As long as a God King doesn't come personally and they aren't a group of Chaos Dominators, it's manageable. Zuo Shanke's face tightened. You know what a God King is. I've lost a kingdom to them. My enemies are God Kings, more than one. Do you still feel confident? Yue Ming held to his answer. If it's not a God King or a cluster of Chaos Dominators, we can handle it. Zuo Shanke knew Yue Ming's background. His Jin kingdom had been wiped out by the Shi kingdom, his wife and disciples slaughtered. Weak at the time, he was hunted by the Shi kingdom's 3 God Kings. Hearing of God King Zimu's feat of enslaving world beasts, Zuo Shanke had believed world beasts could tip the balance. He'd attempted to reach the dimensional universe to enslave them, risking everything. But the closer he got, the stronger the obstruction from the Supreme Rule. He became trapped at the edge, unable to advance or retreat. He had tried every means he could think of and failed. In desperation, he performed the reincarnation art. His original body died. He kept his memories and reincarnated into the primordial universe. The original universe's source will kept a constant watch on him. It constrained his every move. Because of that surveillance, he couldn't pursue the divine body path and had to become a true god through the ordinary law path. With no other way forward, he turned to teaching disciples. He first tried cultivating the flame god race, but was disappointed by Emperor Yan. Then he shaped the earth lineage that rose into what it was now. Zuo Shanke looked at Yue Ming with new respect. Yue Ming's confidence in contending with a Chaos Dominator surprised him. How is Luo Feng doing? Luo Feng was inside the Star Tower. Even as a Universe Lord, Yue Ming found it difficult to probe the tower. After all, it was a God King level supreme treasure. The Star Tower was more complicated than it seemed. Zuo Shanke had refined it at tremendous cost, but during the refining, a mysterious golden light had flown in from the void and fused with the tower, causing an anomaly. Even Zuo Shanke could not fully explain its power. No one knew what that golden light was, but one thing was certain. When Luo Feng became a primal Chaos Lord in the future, he would still be using the Star Tower. That testified to the tower's extraordinary nature. Though currently a God King level supreme treasure, the tower's fusion with the golden light gave it the potential to ascend to a primordial chaos supreme treasure. Luofeng is fine. He's inheriting the Star Tower, and it's progressing smoothly. It depends on whether he can persevere. He will succeed, Yue Ming said. He had faith in Luofeng. In the original timeline, it had taken Luofeng over 6,000 years to win the tower's acknowledgement. Now more than 2,000 years had passed. I'll return to the human race to prepare the refining materials, Zuo Shanke said. When they're ready, I'll send them to you. Go, Yue Ming replied. He teleported from the 7th domain outer battlefield and returned to the primal universe. There he convened a meeting of all the universe lords in his name. He now had the right to do so. Everyone, he began after the delegates had gathered. I have good news. I've reached an agreement with Zuo Shanke. He has agreed to cooperate with the human race and will help each universe lord and universe strongest from our race refine a supreme treasure. A stunned silence broke into incredulous chatter. What? Refine a supreme treasure? Is Zuo Shanke capable of that? I know he's a master of refinement, but a supreme treasure? No one's ever said he could do that. Milky Way, are you sure? This sounds impossible. They had all known Zuo Shanke as a great master of refinement. His peak works were famed, but no one had ever heard him linked to a supreme treasure, at least not openly. Yue Ming shook his head. Zuo Shanke has always had the ability to refine supreme treasures. You just didn't know, I'm certain. In fact, the Star Tower in the 7th domain outer battlefield was refined by Zuo Shanke. He prepared it for his disciple. Luofeng is in the process of acknowledging the tower as his master, and I believe he'll succeed within at most another 4,000 or 5,000 years. The revelation hit the room like a thunderclap. When the Star Tower had been first discovered, the struggle for it had ignited a cataclysmic war among peak races. Many universe exalts fell, and numerous universe lords were grievously wounded, yet the tower remained unscathed. Nothing anyone did could even scratch it. Even the universe strongest had failed to seize it. Now Yue Ming said it had been Zuo Shanke's handiwork all along. No wonder the universe lords were agitated. There is one caveat, Yue Ming continued. The human race must provide the materials. Zuo Shanke won't supply those. That's only fair, Great Axe founder said. It was already a huge boon that Zuo Shanke would assist in refinement. Expecting him to pay for materials as well would be unreasonable. Also, the treasures Zuo Shanke will refine are limited to weapon and armor types. Decide what you want, prepare the materials, and I'll send them to Zuo Shanke. The room burst into excited, urgent conversation. The possibility that each universe lord might receive a customized supreme-grade weapon or armor, refined by Zuo Shanke and backed by the Star Tower's influence, changed everything. Plans would have to be made, resources pooled. Opportunities for power and danger were opening once more. Chapter 151, Emptying the Race's Treasury. Limiting the crafting to only weapon and armor-type supreme treasures wasn't Yue Ming's idea. Zuo Shanke had insisted. If left to their own devices, everyone would want domain-type or flying palace supreme treasures. Those, however, were far more time-consuming and demanding to make. Zuo Shanke had agreed to craft one domain-type supreme treasure for them, but for the rest, he would only accept weapon or armor-type commissions. Ha ha ha! I'm already more than satisfied if I can get a custom-made weapon or armor supreme treasure, one universe lord said. It'll be tailored to our origin laws and unleash its full power. To have a supreme treasure at all was something I never dared dream of, another added. The problem is the crafting materials. Even if we empty the race's treasury, we still won't have enough. Exactly. 16 supreme treasures total means 16 full sets of materials. There's no way to gather that much in a short time. All the universe lords looked troubled. The human race, though powerful, could only have amassed enough top-tier materials to craft perhaps 3 to 5 supreme treasures over the ages, not 16. Here's what we do. Each of you transfer 5,000 treasure points to me, and I'll find the materials, Yue Ming proposed at first. He had already planned to supplement by buying materials from the chat group mall, which stocked plenty of crafting supplies. 5th-tier materials were sufficient for supreme treasures, and roughly 5,000 treasure points could buy one complete set. Primordial Chaos City Lord shook his head. No, you can't risk that. Take 10,000 treasure points from each of us instead. We won't let you suffer a loss." The others didn't object. It felt wrong to lean on Yue Ming, their junior, and none of them wanted him to be out of pocket. Though pricing for supreme treasures had never been set within the human race, they were certainly worth 30 to 50,000 treasure points. People would trade for them willingly. "All right, 10,000 treasure points each," Yue Ming agreed. "Tell me the type, functions, and attributes you want for each supreme treasure. I'll compile the list and fetch the materials." That was the advantage of custom-made supreme treasures. They could be designed to match each cultivator's primary origin law and preferred weapon type. The Universe Lords each gave their specifications, and Yue Ming recorded them in detail to hand over to Zuo Shanke. "Galaxy, when you see Zuo Shanke, bring those 4 damaged supreme treasures with you," Primordial Chaos City Lord added. "No need to trouble 2 masters with the same job. Have Zuo Shanke repair them." "Fine, I'm in the primal universe. Send them over, and I'll take them to Zuo Shanke," Yue Ming replied. A few days earlier, while in the Universe Sea, Yue Ming had slain Void True Demon God and 3 True Gods from the East Emperor Holy Land, acquiring 4 weapon or armor-type supreme treasures. The Chaos Sword embryo had shredded them, however, so he had passed them to Great Axe Founder to find someone to repair them. Great Axe Founder, weary of the task, simply returned the damaged treasures to Yue Ming and let him ask Zuo Shanke. "Senior Marshal Uncle, I want to go to the race's treasury to exchange for some things," Yue Ming told Primordial Chaos City Lord. "Come to the City Lord's mansion. I'll take you there," the elder replied. Only after becoming a Universe Lord did Yue Ming learn the race treasury was kept in the primal universe. No place was safer. Primordial Chaos City Lord led him into a vast spatial plane filled with rare treasures, piled like mountains. Yue Ming made no pretense of restraint. He had plenty of treasure points now and began taking more than half of the treasury's items for sale. Primordial Chaos City Lord's brows twitched. This pile had been accumulated by the human race over billions of eras, and Yue Ming was clearing out more than half of it in an instant. He felt a painful pang of loss. "That should be enough," Yue Ming said. There were still too many items to carry in world rings unless he used tens of thousands of them, so he stored the haul in the Hongmeng bead. After waiting a short while in the primal universe, Great Axe Founder arrived. Yue Ming reclaimed the 4 damaged supreme treasures from him, then left the primal universe and teleported to the 7th domain outer battlefield. Along the way, Yue Ming sold all the treasures from the Hongmeng bead at the chat group mall, converting them into a large number of treasure points. Using those points and the contributions from the Universe Lords, he purchased 16 sets of crafting materials according to their specifications. Entering the Universe Secret Realm outside the Star Tower, Yue Ming found Zuo Shanke waiting. Zuo looked surprised to see him so soon. "Senior, these are the materials my human race provided, and the specifications for the supreme treasures are all recorded inside this," Yue Ming said, tossing a world ring to Zuo Shanke. The ring contained all the materials he'd bought from the chat group mall. "So soon?" Zuo Shanke murmured, opening the ring and nodding in approval at the top-tier materials inside. "Senior, how long will it take to craft the supreme treasures?" Yue Ming asked. "Not long. A few 10,000 years should do it," Zuo Shanke replied easily. A few 10,000 years was short by his standards. That's far too long. With your unparalleled methods, crafting true God-rank supreme treasures shouldn't take that long. Hundreds of years would be more appropriate, Yue Ming countered. Zuo Shanke frowned. True God-rank weapons are easy for me, yes, but the domain-type supreme treasure you asked me for, there's no way to finish that without several thousand years. Did Yue Ming think supreme treasures grew on trees? Zuo Shanke felt a little irked. Still, the task of making a few true God-rank supreme treasures was trivial for him. Then make the true God-rank ones first. We'll leave the domain type for last. Yue Ming agreed. The human race's situation was urgent. Arming the Universe Lords as soon as possible would strengthen them quickly. "And these 4 damaged supreme treasures, please repair them as well," Yue Ming added, then tossed the 4 shredded treasures to Zuo Shanke without waiting for a reply. Before anyone could protest, he teleported away. "This little guy." Zuo stared at the damaged artifacts, both annoyed and amused. Had Yue Ming feared negotiations and simply dumped the work on him? Still, repairing a few true god-rank supreme treasures was a trivial matter for Zuo, so he put them away, planning to mend them when time allowed. He would give the youngster the face he sought. Chapter 152, Breakthrough to True God. 7,000 years have passed in the blink of an eye since I transmigrated to the swallowed star world. Now I can be considered to have reached the peak of the entire universe C. In the primordial universe's Milky Way galaxy, Yue Ming stood in the cosmic void, hands folded behind his back, dressed in a simple green robe. After leaving the 7th domain outer battlefield, he had come back to the Milky Way on a whim, no other reason than that he wanted to see it. Earth, the beautiful blue world of the solar system, lay below, but it was no longer his homeland. He only watched for a moment, then decided, it's time to break through. Yue Ming tore through space and entered the space interlayer, teleporting deeper and deeper. Space fragments swept past like a tidal flood until he reached the deepest portion of the interlayer. Ahead, a vast curtain-like membrane wall stretched to the limits of his sight, the primordial universe's barrier separating it from the boundless universe C. The primordial universe was immense, the largest celestial body within the universe C, and around it drifted countless miniature universes, some intact, some decaying, slowly born from and drifting away from the primordial universe. At the edge of the interlayer, Yue Ming stood amid the chaotic flow of fragments and released his divine kingdom. My divine kingdom has long been near its limit. It should soon evolve into a miniature universe. My divine power is maxed out and cannot absorb more. It's time to break through. With that thought, the divine kingdom swelled outward, evolving toward a miniature universe. Half a year passed in an instant as the boundary expanded to its limit. A void realm passage opened to the divine kingdom, and from its mouth an endless torrent of chaos chi rushed in, tearing the world apart. Lands sundered, oceans shredded, everything shredded and returned to chaos. The divine kingdom absorbed the chaos chi and expanded wildly. More void realm passages were born, pouring chaos chi in and forming chaotic whirlpools across the realm. As the divine kingdom grew, it moved toward the membrane wall of the primordial universe, aiming to detach and be born into the universe C. The diameter is almost 100 million light-years, Yue Ming murmured. A diameter of 100 million light-years was the standard size for a true god's miniature universe. Whether one followed the divine power path or the path of law, regardless of whether one's gene level was 30,000, 60,000, or 90,000 times. Upon reaching true God, a miniature universe would normally measure 100 million light-years in diameter. When Yue Ming's divine kingdom reached that mark, it trembled and officially evolved into a miniature universe. The realm's barrier became a cosmic membrane, and the world inside had been transformed into an enormous celestial body. Ordinarily, the breakthrough would have ended there, with the new miniature universe being squeezed out of the primordial universe and into the universe C. But Yue Ming's universe kept swelling. This was the effect of reaching a 100,000-fold gene level, extraordinary growth that even attracted the attention of supreme rules. Out at the primordial universe's edge, universe lords of the human race watched with bated breath. They had known Yue Ming planned to break through and were waiting for a new miniature universe to appear. But time stretched on, and nothing manifested. "Something's wrong," one murmured. "Evolving a miniature universe doesn't take this long." Still, within the inner layer, the void realm passages kept opening and chaos chi poured in. Years passed before Yue Ming's miniature universe finally stopped expanding. At that moment, an irresistible force gripped it. The universe, which had already grazed the primordial universe's membrane, was shot outward like a marble and hurled into the universe C with a thunderous roar. The transformation completed, a miniature universe with a diameter of 1 billion light-years blasted free, carving a hole more than 1 billion light-years across in the primordial universe's membrane wall. The shockwave was earth-shattering. Countless cultivators felt the tremor. "Collect," Yue Ming commanded. He guided the miniature universe, used the Hongmeng bead to compress it into the Grand Mist world, and then teleported back into the primordial universe. At the membrane's edge, the witnesses were stunned. Did I see that right? Yinhe's miniature universe is that big? My estimate says at least 1 billion light years. Yine, how did you make it so large? Where did it go? It just disappeared. They were dumbfounded. All true God miniature universes typically measured 100 million light years. Even the ancient Sacred Lands universes rarely reached beyond a few billion light years, and those were from powers long past reincarnation. How had Yue Ming, created a miniature universe an order of magnitude larger than the usual? Yue Ming did not stay to answer. The commotion from a universe of that size leaving the primordial universe would attract countless curious eyes, and he did not want word of his breakthrough to spread. Let's leave, he decided. Everyone who had been with him agreed and vanished in a flash. Shortly after, other figures arrived at the primordial universe's edge and paused, frowning at the empty stretch of the universe sea. We clearly sensed a tremendous vibration. Someone must have broken through to true God, one said. Dream monster ancestor, do you know what happened? Another asked. I don't know either. I just arrived a bit earlier than you, Dream monster ancestor replied, equally puzzled as they all searched the distant expanse for the source of the vanished thunder. Chapter 153, Breakthrough to True God, Part 2. As time passed, more and more of the universe's strongest gathered at the edge of the primordial universe. They came not only from within the primordial universe, but from the universe sea as well. The membrane wall of the primordial universe had already repaired itself, and no miniature universes were visible in the universe sea, so no one knew exactly what had happened. Rumors spread quickly. The two great Holy Land universes had raised their bounty. Anyone who captured Zuo Shank or Luo Feng would receive 5 supreme treasures, and, more importantly, a cultivation manual said to allow advancement above the true God realm. Supreme treasures are just material. If you can't pass through reincarnation, after 3 reincarnation eras, everything turns to dust. But a manual for transcending the true God realm, that could be a chance to break through reincarnation. Zuo Shanke is a lone wolf and a universe strongest, hard to find. But Luo Feng of the human race can't just vanish. Don't underestimate the human race. They produced Yinhe, someone the two great Holy Land universes feared to provoke. Who could stand against Yinhe's sword if they dared attack the human race? In the primordial universe, one can only unleash 6-tier combat power. No matter how powerful Yinhe is, if the major forces unite, they might coerce the human race into handing over Luo Feng. The news set the universe sea ablaze. Beings from previous reincarnation eras could not enter the primordial universe. However, an edict of the original universe's source will and a protection for beings of the current reincarnation era. Without that restriction, forces from the universe sea would swarm the primordial universe, and the 6 great peak races would never have had the opportunity to rise. Groups of universe strongest and universe lords clustered in 3s and 5s, debating plans. Some prepared to search for Zuo Shanke, others schemed to pressure the human race to surrender Luo Feng. It was clear the primordial universe would become tumultuous. Everyone, return to your race. I still need to finish building my miniature universe. Everything else can wait, Yue Ming told the assembled crowd. Understood. We'll wait for your return. Yue Ming's God realm had already evolved into a miniature universe, but the breakthrough wasn't complete. He still had to return to his origin, transform back into flesh and blood, and construct the universe's internal architecture. That architecture was the most critical step. The internal framework of a miniature universe had to be set at the very beginning, before the chaos chi began to evolve on its own into the 10 basic law powers like time and space. This was the only chance. Any strongest, no matter how long their cultivation, only ever had this one opportunity. The universe's architecture determined its origin, its limits, and its potential. If the foundation was poor, the miniature universe might only ever reach the eternal true God stage and never advance further. No matter how advanced one's personal comprehension of the laws, if the miniature universe itself didn't evolve, one could not break through, unless a great opportunity emerged or one paid an unimaginable price to re-architect it. After parting ways with the human race's universe lords, Yue Ming teleported away from the primordial universe to a secluded spot in the universe sea. From within the Grand Mist world, he released his miniature universe. "Return to origin," he commanded. Standing amid the roiling chaos chi of his miniature universe, Yue Ming watched over every part of it. His divine body began to crack, dissolving into boundless divine power, an ocean of power 12 light-years across. Over time, a heart condensed at its center, the heart of true God. This heart was the core of a true God, housing the soul and linking directly to the miniature universe's origin. If the origin stored and converted a great deal of divine power, it could transmit that power directly into the heart. If the heart shattered, it meant the true God had fallen. With the heart's formation, the divine power condensed and purified, its potency instantly increasing manyfold. Around that center, flesh, bones, skin, and hair gradually took shape. Yue Ming's figure reappeared inside the unformed miniature universe origin, no longer a divine power existence, but returned to a flesh and blood life form. In the swallowed star world's cultivation system, beings from undying spiritual God upward took on divine power forms, their souls woven through every particle of divine power, universe exalts and universe lords among them. Only by breaking through to the true God realm and condensing a heart of true God could one return to origin and regain a physical body. Yue Ming silently tested himself. His basic strength had surged 100-fold. The quantity of his divine power had decreased, his divine body shrinking from 12 light-years to about 1 light-year in height, but the quality had improved dramatically. He could absorb more divine power later and restore his body's previous scale. Now only the final step remains, he thought, suspended above his miniature universe. He needed to construct its internal architecture, the decisive act that would determine future evolution and potential. He had learned many architecture methods over the years. When he first met Zuo Shanke, they had traded ideas. Zuo Shanke had even shared dozens of miniature universe architecture techniques common on the origin continent. Those methods were proven over countless years, not necessarily top tier, but far preferable to fumbling blindly. After much deliberation, however, Yue Ming set those aside. He chose to model his architecture on the method he would learn from the future Luo Feng, the origin of all, 10 myriad heavens. Luo Feng's eventual rise to primal chaos lord had already proved the potential of that approach. Yue Ming and Luo Feng were both at the 100,000-fold gene level, thus Luo Feng's method should suit him as well. Chapter 154, Constructing a Miniature Universe. Rumble. Yue Ming arrived at the core of his miniature universe, the universe origin space. The origin space was a chaotic expanse, everything still unformed. Yue Ming's will expanded outward, instantly enveloping the entire miniature universe. The origin space and the chaotic chi within it trembled. After his recent breakthrough, Yue Ming's will had risen again. He had not yet reached eternal true God, but he had pushed to the limit of a void true God. Rumble. Under his will's command, the whole miniature universe began to vibrate violently, like the world-forming tremors of myth. Chaos chi was mobilized, splitting and rotating. Plane space after plane space began to condense and take shape. 100,000 plane spaces. As time passed, the chaos chi was consumed. When the last wisp of it was used, 100,000 plane spaces had formed. At the same moment, within the universe origin space, 100,000 stars burst into being, corresponding to those plane spaces, the two realms echoing one another. It was as if the structure of the miniature universe had been mirrored inside the origin space. The origin space guided everything outside. Just one last step. A solemn expression crossed Yue Ming's face. This method of structuring an origin was far stronger than the one Zuo Shanke had taught him. Even with his now peak void true God will, controlling 100,000 plane spaces strained him. The plane spaces varied in size and structure. Each was independent, yet subtly linked. Under the pull of Yue Ming's will, they began to rotate, their connections invisible but real. Within the universe origin space, the 100,000 stars suddenly flared with golden light. Golden lines slowly formed between them, weaving an incredibly precise, vast network. Rumble. As the stellar network completed, the miniature universe underwent a cataclysmic change. The plane spaces synchronized and began to operate in a regular manner. Like interlocking gears, they formed the operating structure of the miniature universe, revolving around and guarding the core origin space. Just as planets orbit a sun, the plane spaces revolved around the universe origin space. With the structure completed, the miniature universe began to ravenously devour chaos chi, converting it into divine power stored in the origin space. All miniature universes can absorb chaos chi and transform it into divine power, but Yue Ming's universe did so at an astonishing speed. As it ran, chaos chi was also converted into the 10 basic law powers. Within the 100,000 plane spaces, land formed, rivers flowed, and life's first outlines appeared. This was the initial evolution after a universe's birth. The miniature universe's operating laws have been established. Subsequent evolution will require time and steady effort. Universe evolution was slow. Yue Ming had a way to accelerate it by using origin shards, but he decided not to waste them. His comprehension of the laws was still incomplete. Using origin shards now would be wasteful. Once he fully mastered the 10 basic laws and integrated the chaos law, using origin shards could launch him to the Chaos Dominator realm in a single leap. It's time to go back. Yue Ming activated the Hongmeng bead and stored his miniature universe within the Hongmeng world for safekeeping. It was more prudent to carry it with him. Galaxy, enter the virtual universe quickly and gather at the Giant Axe Temple. The moment Yue Ming teleported back to the primal universe, Primordial Chaos City Lord appeared to relay an order: assemble at the Giant Axe Temple. Primordial Chaos City Lord's expression was grave. Something serious was happening. When Yue Ming arrived at the Giant Axe Temple, everyone was already assembled. The Universe Lords rose to greet him. Yue Ming himself was powerful now, able to unleash 10th Order True God combat strength. Having broken through into the True God realm, he was effectively unrivaled in the Universe Sea. Strength commanded respect. With it came the right to speak. Primordial Chaos, you speak. Great Axe nodded once to Yue Ming, then gestured for Primordial Chaos City Lord to preside. All right. Primordial Chaos City Lord stood, solemn. Origin Ancestors Virtual Universe has detected that several forces, the Monster Race, Automaton Race, Insect Race, Crystal Race, Prison Race, Northern Border Alliance, Star Beast Alliance, and others, are subtly uniting, apparently targeting our human race. Even within the Great Alliance, many races have been swayed. Faces around the temple grew grim. These were among the top powers of the primordial universe, and now they appeared to be forming a coalition against the humans. The pressure in the room was palpable. Primordial Chaos. Did Origin Ancestor tell you all of this? Yes, there's more I haven't said. Origin Ancestor's virtual universe covers the entire primordial universe. Unless a universe strongest deliberately forces the virtual universe away from a region, Origin Ancestor's view is as if he watches it with his own eyes. Aside from a few rare regions like Primal Star, anything under the virtual universe's coverage is visible to him. Only Great Axe and I knew this. The Universe Lords were suddenly enlightened. Even Darkness Lord, also a disciple of Origin Ancestor, hadn't known. For the human race, this was good news. With the virtual universe, they could constantly monitor the primordial universe. Even if a universe strongest forces the virtual universe away, Origin Ancestor can detect which area did it and infer the approximate location of that universe strongest. Primordial Chaos City Lord added. When will this alliance strike? Someone asked. According to Origin Ancestor's judgment, it should still be several hundred years. There are many forces involved, and old grudges exist between them. If not for the insect race, monster race, and automaton race pushing hardest, it would have been impossible to unite so many. At the mention of the three races, Primordial Chaos City Lord's face hardened. If the human race harbored the deepest enmity toward any forces, it was these three. Now, with them rallying others, the intent to wipe out the humans seemed clear. Several hundred years should be enough time. I'll urge Zuo Shenk to refine the supreme treasure as soon as possible, Yue Ming said. A great war was looming. They urgently needed a supreme treasure. Why would so many forces suddenly target our humans? Another Universe Lord asked. It might be because of Luo Feng. Not long ago, the two great Holy Land universes increased their bounty. Primordial Chaos City Lord began, then briefly explained the recent bounty escalation. The Universe Lords of the human race had only just returned from the Universe Sea, so they were among the last to learn of the development. Chapter 155, Revealing the Origin Continent. The two great Holy Land universes are unbelievably generous, willing to offer cultivation guidance above true God just to capture Zuo Shank. No wonder the major powers of the primordial universe are so desperate, even uniting against our human race. All of this for guidance beyond true God. What I want to know most is how Zuo Shanke offended the two great Holy Land universes so badly that they'd pay such a price to seize him. It wasn't only the universe lords of the human race who were curious. Every living being in the primordial universe, and even across the universe C, wanted answers. Yue Ming listened to their questions and then spoke. Regarding Zuo Shanke, there are things I know, but it's far more complicated than you imagine. The so-called two great Holy Land universes are only pawns, hardly worth mentioning. Only pawns. Great Axe founder's heart trembled at the word, and he immediately thought of the legendary ancient civilization. It is related to the ancient civilization, Yue Ming admitted. There are matters I cannot reveal. The will of the original universe restricts me. All I can say is that the legendary ancient civilization truly exists and has not perished. Talk of the origin continent was bound by the will of the original universe. Even within the virtual universe, Yue Ming couldn't freely speak of it. Outside, the Hongmeng bead could obscure that will, but inside the virtual universe, the bead could not manifest. Galaxy, your ancestral master, the origin ancestor, said to go to the core of the virtual universe. There we can isolate the original universe's will, primordial chaos city lord suddenly interjected. It was clear the origin ancestor had overheard and taken an interest in the ancient civilization. Ha! It seems the old ancestral master is very interested, someone laughed. If that's the case, let's go. They passed through the chaos chi and arrived in an endless void realm. There stood a majestic, infinitely tall statue. A long rectangular stone table emerged in the void, with rows of stone chairs on either side, arranged like those at the giant axe temple. Everyone took a seat and looked at Yue Ming. He did not delay and began to explain the origin continent. The so-called ancient civilization is also called the origin continent. It is where beings go after reincarnation. Our current primordial universe and the entire universe C are together a dimensional universe. There are 3,000 such dimensional universes. Beings in those 3,000 dimensional universes, when they cultivate to the extreme, must undergo reincarnation. If they succeed, they enter the origin continent. If they fail, they vanish entirely. In the origin continent, the true God realm is only a new beginning. Beyond it are higher realms, void true God, eternal true God, chaos dominator, and God king. The ancestors of the two great Holy Land universes fortunately passed through reincarnation and entered the origin continent. Right now, they should only be at the void true God level. Void true God is terrifying in the dimensional universe, Yue Ming continued, but in the origin continent, they are low-level cultivators. Everybody fell into stunned silence. Yue Ming went on, and Great Axe founder listened closely. The pieces began to fit together. So the two great holy lands aren't hunting Zuo Shanke out of personal grudge, but at someone's behest from the origin continent? That's right, Yue Ming said. In fact, Zuo Shanke isn't a native of the dimensional universe. He comes from the origin continent. He was pursued by enemies there and had no choice but to risk entering the dimensional universe. Under the supreme rule, beings from the origin continent can't normally enter the dimensional universe. Zuo Shanke used special means to reincarnate into the primordial universe. The two great holy lands are likely being compelled, soul-enslaved, by Zuo Shanke's enemies who want to use their power to eliminate him. What Yue Ming did not emphasize was that killing Zuo Shanke might be secondary. The main aim could be to seize the opportunity surrounding Luo Feng. Above true God, there are many realms, he added, listing them. Nobody had expected such a hierarchy. The exalted ancestors of the two great Holy Land universes were merely low-tier cultivators on the origin continent. As for the Tao of cultivation, it can be divided broadly into two paths, the law path and the divine power path. Everyone here follows the law path. Its ultimate aim is to comprehend the 10 fundamental laws and fuse them into the chaos law. Yue Ming, having already revealed much, continued. He even shared the method for constructing miniature universes, knowledge he'd obtained from Zuo Shank, with the universe lords of the human race. These miniature universe construction methods are far superior to the ones I created, he said. It's a pity my miniature universe is already formed. Still, primordial chaos and the others haven't broken through to true God yet. These methods will help them tremendously. Great Axe founder felt helpless. Everyone only gets one chance to construct a miniature universe, and no matter how good these methods were, he couldn't use them now. Galaxy, he asked. You mentioned the divine power path besides the law path. What is the divine power path? The divine power path, Yue Ming explained, is about analyzing the intrinsic mysteries of all things to drive evolution at the genetic level. Compared to the law path, the divine power path was even harder. Yue Ming didn't want to mislead anyone. Don't even think about the divine power path for now, he warned. It's too difficult, and it's not necessarily superior to the law path. The two paths are different routes to the same destination. Having shared everything he could, Yue Ming concluded, that's all I know about the origin continent. He admitted he had limits. After all, the Swallowed Star novel hadn't detailed the origin continent's plot, so his knowledge was incomplete. He turned to the present crisis next. As for the major powers uniting against the human race, don't be overly anxious. Let them make noise. This is a good chance to see which powers truly hate us. We'll use the opportunity to eliminate those hostile forces and push to unify the primordial universe. It was Yue Ming's plan. Use the current chaos to purge enemies and then unite the primordial universe under the human race. Unify the primordial universe? Murmurs spread through the group. Many had dreamed of it, but thought it unrealistic. Don't worry, Yue Ming said confidently. I believe we can. In the primordial universe, even a 10th-order true god can only exert 6th-order combat power at most. But Yue Ming had the heaven-severing sword intent. He intended to enter seclusion and cultivate the sword intent to its 7th layer, achieving an eternal true god-level will. Then sweeping the primordial universe would be far easier. Let's end the meeting for now, he said. Prepare for a major battle. I'll go urge Zuo Shanqi. When the meeting broke, everyone left the virtual universe. Yue Ming teleported to the 7th domain outer battlefield and arrived at the Star Tower combat zone. Chapter 156, Eternal True God Level Will. Why are you back so soon, little one? Yue Ming had just teleported to the 7th domain's outer battlefield when Zuo Shanqi appeared before he could say a word. Senior, how is the supreme treasure you're forging for me coming along? He asked. What do you think? Zuo Shanqi snapped, irritable. Only a few years had passed and already he was being rushed. Did the boy believe supreme treasures were easy to make? Ahem, it's mainly because of your affair, Senior, Zuo Shanqi continued after cooling. The two great Holy Land universes have raised the bounty and are even offering above true god cultivation instruction. Many forces in the primordial universe are quietly forming an alliance against the human race. I know, Yue Ming said. They've really gone all out to eliminate me, a major hidden danger. Though Zuo Shanqi had remained inside the Star Tower, his senior, Master Pudi, had been monitoring the Universe Sea. They learned about the two great Holy Land offering above true god training to hunt Luo Feng before the human race did. The various forces definitely want to force the human race to hand over Luo Feng. With a major war looming, Senior, please find a way to finish the supreme treasure quickly. Zuo Shanq had once been a god king and was a renowned grandmaster of refinement on the origin continent. He could accelerate the work if he chose. All right, Luo Feng is likely to inherit the Star Tower. He may even become my personal disciple. Some of this is my fault too. I'll help refine the supreme treasures as quickly as I can. He prepared to return to his miniature universe and use its time acceleration to finish the work. I'll be away for a while. While I'm gone, you guard the Star Tower and don't let anyone disturb Luo Feng. No problem, Yue Ming replied. Ordinary beings couldn't interrupt the Star Tower's selection of its master. Only someone of universe's strongest caliber could. He would use the time to cultivate the heaven-severing sword intent. After Zuo Shanqi left, Yue Ming entered the Star Tower's main hall. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the recognition dais, his body twitching, his face twisted in pain. He was enduring unimaginable torment. The Star Tower required an extraordinarily strong will to recognize its master. If his endurance broke, his will and consciousness would collapse and his soul disintegrate. Clones wouldn't help. It's been over 2,000 years. Keep going. The tower's pressure reminded him. Blood bead after bead seeped from Luo Feng, staining his robes crimson, yet he did not give up. A hard, steady determination creased his brow. Yue Ming watched a long while, then sat down nearby and began cultivating heaven-severing sword intent himself. Time slipped away. In what felt like a blink, over 500 years passed. Yue Ming finally mastered the 7th layer of the heaven-severing sword intent. His will broke through to the eternal true God level. Rank, true God, 5th rank. Realm, 5-element fusion laws, earth, fire, wood, water, space. Gold origin law, 95 perfused will, eternal true God level will. Genes, 100,000 times secret techniques. Heaven-severing sword intent, 7th layer. Heaven-severing sword technique, 4th form. With the 7th layer mastered and an eternal true God level will, his will-attacking secret techniques could wreak havoc across the primordial universe. Some true gods might possess a higher will level, at most void true God, but no one in this dimensional universe had been recorded at eternal true God level before. After that long span, Zuo Shanqi finally returned. He tossed 20 supreme treasures to Yue Ming. Among them, the primordial chaos dominator, grade domain supreme treasure Zheng had refined for him, plus 4 repaired damaged ones. Zuo Shanqi had burned through vast reserves of miniature universe time acceleration to do it. The primordial chaos dominator domain treasure alone had taken longer than 15 true god-grade supreme treasures combined. "Thank you, Senior," Yue Ming said, taking the pile. The jade, plate-shaped treasure was the primordial chaos dominator domain treasure. "To help the human race forge these, I paid a huge price." "Don't forget what you promised me," Zuo Shanqi reminded. "Rest assured, Senior, I'll keep my promise within my ability." Yue Ming understood. Zuo Shanqi wanted his help with revenge. He would help, but only as far as it didn't cost him everything. "This supreme treasure doesn't have a name. You can name it yourself." "Chaos Jade Plate," Yue Ming answered, smiling as he held the jade. The name fit. Zuo Shanqi's mouth twitched at how casually the primordial chaos-level treasure had been named, but since it was Yue Ming's, he did not press it further. He waved Yue Ming off. "You may go." Yue Ming exited the Star Tower, teleported back to the primordial universe, logged into the virtual universe, and called another giant axe meeting. "Everyone, the supreme treasures have all been forged and brought back to the primordial universe. Come to Primordial Chaos City and collect them when you can." "What? That quickly?" The attendees were startled. Only a little over 500 years had passed, and Zuo Shanqi had finished them all. "Haha, what are we waiting for? I'm going to the primordial universe right now. I can't wait to get my supreme treasure." "While you're still talking, I've already left. The distance is short, I should be the first back. With these supreme treasures, the overall strength of the human race will rise by a rank. Primordial Chaos, Darkness, Peng Gong, and the others will all reach rank 6. Many universe lords of the human race were already 5th rank. The supreme treasures would elevate them to 6th rank true gods." "What's the alien situation?" Yue Ming asked. Over 500 years had passed. Why hadn't the alien forces acted? Although the insect, monster, and automaton races are pushing the plan, there are deep resentments between the various factions. The alliance is far from solid. It'll take several hundred years of negotiations before a true alliance forms, came Origin Ancestors' assessment, deduced by monitoring the virtual universe and tracking each force's movements. "Several hundred years? Fine. We'll wait here in the primordial universe. After you collect your treasures, hurry and refine them." Yue Ming intended to use the time to comprehend the gold origin law, fully fuse the 6-element fusion law, and perhaps create the 5th form of the heaven-severing sword technique. "Haha, Senior Martial Uncle seems eager. Here, this is your supreme treasure." Primordial Chaos City Lord was first to arrive. Yue Ming laughed and tossed him a massive halberd. "With this supreme treasure, my strength will reach rank 6. Primordial Chaos City Lord boomed happily, then left at once to refine it. Soon Great Axe Founder appeared. As a universe strongest, his teleportation range was far greater than a universe lord's. Yue Ming handed him a bronze great axe, a supreme treasure custom forged to his exact specifications. "Good treasure," Great Axe Founder exclaimed, excitement barely contained. Finally, he had a supreme treasure of his own. Supreme treasures guarded a race. Other peak races already had theirs. The human race had never possessed one. Why had the universe lords risked exploring collapsing peak world, one of the universe sees three desperate places, enduring such peril, to obtain supreme treasures like these? Ha ha ha, this supreme treasure will push my strength to the peak of true God 9th stage. With time, and once I grasp its secret patterns, I might even unleash the power of a true God at 10th stage. Great Axe founder laughed with unrestrained delight. He had already reached true God 9th stage. The new supreme treasure would elevate him to the peak of that realm. His offensive secret techniques still needed polishing, but the treasure would accelerate that refinement. It was only a matter of time before his combat power rivaled that of a true God 10th stage. Great Axe, congratulations. You finally got your wish. A supreme treasure at last, someone called. A dark-robed figure stepped out into the primal universe, a swirl of black chi surrounding him. It was Darkness Lord. Senior Martial Uncle Darkness, this one is yours. Yue Ming handed him a black spear, another offensive supreme treasure. Of the 15 divine rank supreme treasures, 11 were weapons and only 4 were defensive armors. Haha, I set out first, but I still arrived a step late. Great Axe, Darkness, well done. Galaxy, where's mine? A portly newcomer boomed, rubbing his bald head and stroking a long beard. It was Lord Peng Gong of the Universe Galaxy Bank. Here. Yue Ming passed him a bronze-long staff. Lord Peng Gong gripped it like a child with a prized toy, his face alive with excitement. Who wouldn't beam at such a possession? I pushed my teleportation to the limit to get here sooner, he bragged, laughing. One after another, the universe lords of the human race began to appear in reality. Yue Ming distributed the remaining supreme treasures, and with each presentation, an ordinary composure fell away. Those who had sat like statues on high thrones now openly showed excitement. For the first time in ages, all these powers had gathered in one place. It's been so long since we assembled in reality, someone said. Let's take the chance to feast. Indeed, the virtual universe meetings are common enough, but a real-world gathering like this hasn't happened in, what was it, more than 10,000 eras. Knowing you'd all come, Primordial Chaos City Lord already prepared a banquet at his mansion, another replied. It was rare for universe lords to assemble in flesh rather than in virtual projection. Primordial Chaos City Lord had anticipated the reunion and laid out a grand feast in the City Lord's mansion. The gathered lords took their thrones, drank, and reminisced. Everyone, we should raise a glass to Galaxy, one voice called. If it weren't for him negotiating with Zuo Shanky and finding the refining materials, none of us would have these treasures, and he only charged 10,000 treasure points. We all owe him a great debt. To Galaxy! To Galaxy! Echoed around the hall. Yue Ming listened modestly as the toasts came. His role in the acquisition had been decisive. He had brokered the cooperation, gathered the materials, and paid only a modest fee. More than that, he had recently ascended to true God, making him the human race's foremost powerhouse. His importance had soared. Many now regarded him as on par with Great Axe founder, and even surpassing Primordial Chaos City Lord in influence. Primordial Chaos City Lord raised his cup with visible relief. Ever since the previous leader, Origin Ancestor, had been suppressed by the Source Will, the weight of the race had fallen heavily on him and Great Axe founder. For untold years he had carried the burden of leadership, ever fearful a single mistake might doom their people. Great Axe founder's rise to universe strongest had eased the pressure somewhat, but the responsibility remained. Yue Ming's emergence, prime among the living elites, finally gave him reason to breathe. Senior Martial Uncle, it should be me who toasts you, Yue Ming said earnestly. You dedicated yourself to the race for so long, but of course, every one of you here has contributed indispensably. We stand where we are today because of all your sacrifices. Ha ha ha, enough flattery. Drink. Primordial Chaos City Lord boomed, and the hall filled with laughter and clinking cups. Days slipped by in a blur of alcohol and conversation. When the revelry finally slowed, Yue Ming rose to speak. He had used the banquet to gather everyone in one place for a purpose. Everyone, there is something I want to bring up now, so you can prepare. After the human race unifies the primordial universe, I intend to reform certain systems of our society. The room quieted. Yue Ming continued, choosing his words carefully. First, abolish the slave system. From now on, no member of the human race may be sold as a slave. If someone wants slaves, they may capture aliens to use as laborers, provided they have the ability to do so. He proposed several reforms, but this was the core. The Swallowed Star World's system for cultivating talent had always been excellent. Geniuses received exceptional support and resources. Yue Ming had no wish to change that. But ordinary humans, especially indigenous peoples, suffered. Entire planets, whole families, were sold off or enslaved generation after generation. It was a cruelty that had long needed correction. Previously, Yue Ming lacked the authority to challenge entrenched interests. Now, as a leading figure in the race and someone who had delivered crucial benefits to many of the universe lords present, he could push for change, even if it would bruise powerful interests. I have no objections, Primordial Chaos City Lord said first, setting the tone. The universe lords affiliated with the Virtual Universe branch followed quickly. I support it, agreed. Several of the lords hesitated, minds flickering to their own family enterprises or subordinate holdings that profited from the slave trade. But gratitude and political reality weighed heavily. Without Yue Ming, none of them would have obtained supreme treasures. In the end, the majority sided with him. Thank you all for your support, Yue Ming said, solemn. And allow me to thank on behalf of those humans who have suffered under slavery. This is not an emergency. Everything will be implemented after we resolve the major threats and unify the primordial universe. The hall murmured in assent. For now, the promise had been made. The abolition of the slave system would be part of the new order Yue Ming hoped to bring. It was a small word to some, but a revolution to many. Chapter 158, Six-Element Fusion Law. A few days after the banquet, the guests dispersed. The universe lords departed one after another. Each had important posts to guard throughout the human territory and could not linger long in the primordial universe. After seeing them off, Yue Ming returned to his cultivation residence and entered seclusion, first refining the domain-type supreme treasure, the Chaos Jade Plate. With unrest stirring across the primordial universe and war a constant possibility, he refused to enter the Hongmeng world. If conflict erupted and the human race couldn't reach him while he was inside Hongmeng, the consequences would be disastrous. Yue Ming sat cross-legged in the hall of his residence, 5 supreme treasures hovering before him and radiating powerful auras. Besides the Chaos Jade Plate, the other 4 were spoils he had taken after slaying the Void True Demon God and 3 true gods from the East Emperor Holy Land. Once shattered by the Chaos Sword Embryo, they had been repaired by Zuo Shanqi, 1 offensive supreme treasure and 3 sets of supreme armor. These 4 aren't very useful to me at the moment, he thought. I'll keep them until I can revive my teachers and then give them for self-defense. He stored the 4 treasures and studied the Chaos Jade Plate. Despite his recent breakthrough to True God, Yue Ming still couldn't fully withstand the monstrous backlash required to revive a universe lord. He estimated he might need to reach Void True God, or even Eternal True God, before attempting that. Refining the Chaos Jade Plate had taken nearly 100 years, and at last it was complete. Even so, with his current power, he could not yet unlock all of its might. It was a Chaos Dominator-level supreme treasure. After finishing the refinement, Yue Ming continued to cultivate and finish comprehending the Gold Origin Law. He had already reached about 95% understanding. It took a little over 10 more years to complete it. Then he fused. Yue Ming activated a law fusion device and forcefully integrated the Gold Origin Law into his existing 5-element fusion law. The forced fusion ended smoothly. The 5-element fusion law became the 6-element fusion law. Rank, True God, 5th rank. Realm, 6-element fusion law, gold, earth, fire, wood, water, space. Will, eternal True God level will. Gene 100,009 secret techniques. Heaven-severing sword intent, 7th layer. Heaven-severing sword technique, 4th form. He was about to begin creating the 5th form of the heaven-severing sword technique when a transmission arrived from Primordial Chaos City Lord. Galaxy, come to the Giant Axe Temple immediately. Yue Ming logged into the virtual universe and appeared at the Giant Axe Temple. All the universe lords had already gathered. Their faces were grave. Primordial Chaos City Lord's voice was heavy. The monster race, automaton race, insect race, prison race, crystal race, the Northern Border Alliance, the Star Beast Alliance, and several other forces have already started moving. They'll soon form an army and march on the human territory. The primordial universe had 9 major powers: the Elder God cult and 8 others: the human race, monster race, automaton race, insect race, prison race, crystal race, Northern Border Alliance, and Star Beast Alliance. With the Elder God cult neutral, the remaining 7 giant forces uniting would place unprecedented pressure on the human race. Even a single mistake could spell extinction. Among those 7, most wielded supreme treasures, though the prison race, crystal race, and Northern Border Alliance were comparatively weaker and lacked such artifacts. They hadn't been taken as seriously by the larger powers, despite the fierce rivalries between races. We must also be wary of lone universe strongest. Great Axe founder added solemnly, "They don't act for a nation or race. Each fights for themselves. They're unique life forms, ancient and powerful, and very difficult to handle." There were many lone universe strongest in the primordial universe: Zuo Shanki, Lord Shiwa Island, the Black Universe founder, and others. Zuo Shanki supported the human race. The Void True Demon God had already been slain by Yue Ming. But beings like Lord Shihua Island and the Black Universe founder could easily ally with the 7 major forces for the promise of cultivation guidance above true God. Those universe strongest were extraordinarily ancient and powerful, each with supreme treasures. My suggestion is to take the initiative and stop them outside our territory, Great Axe founder said. At the very least, the battle cannot be fought within human territory. I'll handle the universe strongest among the major forces, and any lone universe strongest who join them, Yue Ming replied. You only need to deal with the universe lords. Primordial Chaos City Lord hesitated. Although Yue Ming's power was immense, even unrivaled in the Universe C, within the primordial universe, the strongest cultivators could only reach rank 6 combat power. Still, Yue Ming's confidence was unshakable. Senior Marshal Uncle, don't worry. No matter how many they send, I can kill them all. After this battle, the human race will unify the primordial universe. With Yue Ming's eternal true God-level will and the 7th layer of heaven's severing sword intent, he could sweep across the primordial universe despite the rank 6 limit. The assembled leaders agreed, and preparations to depart began. Except for Primordial Chaos City Lord, who left a clone behind to guard the primordial universe, all universe lords and true gods of the human race set out. They intercepted the allied army at the edge of human territory. The enemy had gathered massive forces: 10 universe strongest, 107 universe lords, and several thousand universe exalts. Across the Star River, the 2 sides faced one another. How audacious, one enemy voice scoffed. The human race dares to strike first? Let them come, another said. Perhaps they're eager to die. Great Axe, Galaxy, Primordial Chaos, the human race's universe strongest and universe lords are all here. They're planning a do-or-die battle. From the dark sky, a colossal silver serpent began to materialize, its massive body weaving through the cosmos until it seemed to span the starry expanse for a moment. Its length likely measured a light year. That's the dream monster ancestor of the monster race, Great Axe founder explained to Yue Ming, who had not seen the ancient monster before. Her supreme treasure armor, Dream Scale, has terrifying defensive power. A voice from the allied front boomed a demand. Great Axe, hand over Luo Feng and cede 2/3 of human territory, and this war can be avoided. Standing beside Yue Ming, Great Axe founder's voice thundered across the sky. My human race will not hand over Luo Feng, and we won't surrender an inch of our territory. If you want war, then so be it. With diplomacy exhausted, battle erupted. The universe strongest leading the alliance, accompanied by several lone universe strongest, charged toward the human ranks. Yue Ming activated the Chaos Jade Plate. It flared with divine light as its domain expanded outward, quickly covering an area 10,000 light-years across. Inside that domain, the Allied forces' strength was suppressed by 20%, while the human race's combat power rose by 20%. Chapter 159, Unifying the Primordial Universe. It's human galaxy. He actually broke through to true God, and he has a domain-type supreme treasure? Kill him first. The dream monster ancestor bellowed. Its titanic serpentine body, nearly a light year long, coiled through the void. Its enormous tail swept toward Yue Ming, twisting and collapsing the surrounding void. Countless planets shattered as terrifying divine power washed across entire star systems. Human galaxy, die! The Zerg Queen activated her supreme treasure, an enormous nest that was also a palace, the Queen's Palace. It opened like a cavernous maw and poured forth a tide of figures. Insect warriors swarmed out, each one a universe exalt, their numbers vast enough to blot out the stars. Against the human race's universe exalts, they were overwhelming. The combined pressure and aura of those countless insect exalts formed the famed Insect Legion's combined attack technique, and their assault bore down on Yue Ming with a force that would make most universe lords quake. An oval black sphere drifted into the starry expanse and vomited over 10,000 hunched figures, the automaton race's puppet army. That sphere was the automaton race ancestor. Their mechanical puppets were infamous throughout the cosmos for swarm warfare. The other universe strongest also joined the fray. Although everyone here was confined by the primordial universe to a maximum of 6th-tier combat power, the combined onslaught of 10 universe strongest was still enough to overwhelm a 6th-tier opponent. Great Axe Founder's face tightened. He wanted to step in and take on some of the universe strongest to ease the pressure on Yue Ming. Yue Ming, however, sent a brief soul message to stop him. He was confident he could handle this himself. Yue Ming's body surged, expanding until it became a 12-light-year divine body, towering through the starfield and radiating a crushing aura. Dream Monster Ancestor's 1-light-year serpent suddenly looked like a small snake beside him. Mechanical Godfather, Hell Race Demon Ancestor, Crystal Race Holy Lord, Zerg Queen, Monster Race Dream Monster Ancestor, Shock Monster Ancestor, Yao Beast Ancestor, Northern Frontier Alliance Leader, Initial Transformation Island Lord, Dark Void Founder. Yue Ming glanced at the 10 universe strongest arrayed before him. Curiously, the old divine beast of the Star Beast Alliance was not among them. Perhaps it chose not to get involved. Impossible! Every human universe lord has a supreme treasure, alarmed voices rippled through the 7 Great Powers Alliance. Where did the human race get so many supreme treasures? We aren't prepared for this. The battle erupted. Although the human race was smaller in number, each of their universe lords possessed a supreme treasure. Several, Primordial Chaos City Lord, Darkness Lord, Lord Peng Gong, were even 6th-tier combatants. Coupled with the suppressive field of Yue Ming's domain-type supreme treasure, the Chaos Jade Plate, the 7 Great Powers Alliance quickly fell onto the back foot and were driven into retreat. Yue Ming drew the Chaos Sword Embryo and struck with 10 consecutive waves of sword intent. As if transcending space and time, the strikes shattered the attacks of the 10 universe strongest and bore down on them in turn. The 10 roared and activated their own supreme treasures, Queen's Palace, Dream Scales, Dark Void Divine Armor, trying to block the onslaught. But Yue Ming's sword intent blasted those treasures aside, cracking and nearly cleaving them in two. Those universe strongest who lacked supreme treasures fared worse. Their divine bodies were shredded and they sustained grievous injuries. They stared at the Chaos Sword Embryo in disbelief. How could a single weapon threaten to split their supreme treasures? "I'll give you a chance to live. Surrender," Yue Ming said evenly. If they yielded, he would enslave their souls. Universe strongest were still useful. "Never," they answered as one. Pride would not allow surrender. "Then die." Yue Ming sheathed the Chaos Sword Embryo. Operating within the primordial universe limited everyone to 6th-tier power. Even so, Yue Ming had another method. He unleashed the heaven-severing sword intent and followed with a secret will attack technique. 10 invisible swords of will pierced the 10 universe strongest and entered their true god hearts. Under the crushing weight of Yue Ming's eternal true god-level will, they had no resistance. Their wills and consciousnesses were annihilated in an instant. The 10 colossal figures collapsed. Outwardly, they were intact, but their minds were gone. Yue Ming gestured and collected 6 supreme treasures left behind, those of the Monster Race, Insect Race, Automaton Race, Initial Transformation Island Lord, Dark Void Founder, and Yao Beast Ancestor. Godfather is dead. The Queen is dead. Our insect race is finished. Panic swept through the Alliance. Everyone, The universe's strongest of the seven great powers alliance are dead. Kill them. Some tried to rally, but the blow had undone the alliance's morale and bolstered the human races. Yue Ming fully activated the Chaos Jade Plate. Its domain power flared and spread, binding and suppressing the universe lords of the seven great powers. Human universe lords seized the moment and overwhelmed their opponents. Over 30 universe lords chose self-destruction rather than suffer soul enslavement. Others had clones and self-destructed to avoid capture. The remaining 70-plus universe lords were enslaved as souls by the human race's universe lords. Seize this opportunity to unify the primordial universe, orders rang out. Unify the primordial universe, the human faction answered. With Great Axe Founder and Primordial Chaos City Lord designated to oversee the unification, Yue Ming had little to worry about personally. The human race's strength had been magnified. Not only did nearly every universe lord wield a supreme treasure, but they also commanded over 70 enslaved universe lords. With the fall of the major powers' universe strongest, no force in the primordial universe could effectively resist the humans' push for unification, not even the Elder God cult. Even so, the Elder God cult had long maintained strict neutrality in primordial universe affairs, backed by its source will. Had it not, the humans might have sought to eliminate it as well. Once the primordial universe was unified, that front would be secure, and they could turn their attention to the two great Holy Land universes in the Universe Sea. But even after breaking through to True God, Yue Ming could not destroy those two great lands. He would have to reach eternal True God for that. The matters of the primordial universe are drawing to a close, Yue Ming said. Next, we'll see whether Origin Continent sends anyone into the dimensional universe. Chapter 160, Galaxy True Masters Nostalgia. On Thunder Island's central mountain range, in a palace on one of the peaks, hundreds of universe exalts and universe overlords had gathered. Venerable Wuan and Venerable Xuan Yu presided over the assembly. Several centuries ago, Venerable Xuan Yu announced, the Galaxy True Master's single-handed campaign struck fear into the primordial universe. He slew 10 of the universe's strongest in succession. Our human race has been fighting for centuries. Though we suffered heavy losses and many universe exalts fell, we have finally eradicated the remnants of the 7 major forces and have initially unified the primordial universe. Furthermore, the Galaxy True Master proposed at the High Council that the slavery system be abolished. From now on, the internal sale of human race slaves will no longer be permitted within our race. This motion has already passed the race's High Council and will soon be implemented across the universe. The Galaxy True Master asked that we all supervise its enforcement. The crowd murmured approval. When one person achieved greatness, his close associates benefited in turn. That had certainly been the case for Venerable Xuan Yu and Venerable Wuan. Both owed much of their advancement to Yue Ming. With his help, they had ascended to the rank of top universe overlords, and Yue Ming had even gifted each of them peak-grade treasures. After Ice Peak Lord's death, the lineages that once belonged to him naturally gravitated toward Yue Ming. Many clans and factions pledged allegiance to him. Yue Ming's prestige spread, and more universe exalts and even universe overlords offered their loyalty. His influence grew to the point where, if he wished, he could have formed a 6th major force of the human race, on par with the 5 established powers like Great Axe Battleground and Virtual Universe Corporation, but Yue Ming was simply too indifferent to set one up. He preferred to let things be. 9 swords, you really are lucky, someone teased from the crowd. I heard the Galaxy True Master summoned you recently and gave you a high-level treasure. Is that true? 9 Sword Exalt laughed, clearly pleased. It's true. I even borrowed the treasure for a look. It's top tier among high-level treasures. If only I had presided over the peak genius battle back then. Don't be modest. Presiding over Galaxy True Master's generation's peak genius battle is an honor few of us will ever have, another voice said, and the hall filled with laughter and congratulations. Galaxy True Master was the human race's greatest figure and one of the Universe C's most terrifying existences. He did not extend favors lightly. For someone like Ninesword, only a high-level venerable, to be summoned and given a high-level treasure was extraordinary. It wasn't only Nine Sword, someone else chimed in. Even Lord Qianwu of Qianwu Universe Country was summoned and given a treasure, an ordinary one, but still. The mention of Qianwu caused a ripple of amusement. Isn't he the human race's chief debtor? A voice said. I never expected he'd have a stroke of good fortune. Lord Qianwu smiled awkwardly as all eyes turned to him. He was an ancient figure in the human race. Being one of the 1008 Universe Country Lords indicated he had risen early and accumulated a deep foundation. Evaluated by the Great Alliance at 6-star strength, he was no weakling among Universe Exalts. Yet despite his seniority, he had become infamous for debts. Longevity had used up much of his potential. Having plateaued at his present realm, his only hope of advancement lay in risky expeditions into Universe secret realms to seek treasures. He'd repeatedly risked life and cultivation for the chance at a breakthrough. Luck was not on his side. Every trip was dangerous, and one after another, they had drained his foundation. He had died 3 times and been resurrected 3 times, and the cost of those resurrections piled up into crushing debt to the race. The race knew his situation and did not press him for immediate repayment, allowing him time to pay back slowly. But friends and benefactors who had lent him treasures did demand repayment, and the pressure had once forced Qianwu into seclusion, hiding within his divine kingdom for a long time. Yue Ming's ordinary treasure helped pull him back from the brink. It wasn't enough to wipe out his debts entirely, but it met the most urgent obligations, repaying some friends and settling part of his debt to the race. The rest he could repay over time by cultivating outstanding young talents and contributing to the race. Now he felt a new lightness. He could meet friends again without shame and walk openly in public. Everyone, Venerable Suan Yuo said after a pause, the Galaxy True Master's homeland, the Milky Way galaxy, needs manpower for expansion. Those interested may sign up. I will select several suitable candidates to oversee the effort. The hall erupted. An assignment connected to the Galaxy True Master was a rare opportunity, perhaps even a chance to appear before him. Many Universe Exalts and even Universe Overlords eagerly put their names forward. Venerable Xuan Yu, Qianwu said, standing calmly, I am the Lord of Qianwu Universe Country and have long been familiar with the Milky Way galaxy. My personal disciple hails from Earth. Among the Exalts here, none is better suited than I am to manage the expansion. Xuan Yu nodded. Very well. The Milky Way's expansion will be entrusted to you. The Galaxy True Master places great importance on this matter. Do it well. A chorus of congratulations followed. Everyone envied Qianwu. A successful assignment for the Milky Way could earn the Galaxy True Master's favor and significant rewards. Qianwu laughed, emotion and relief evident in his voice. He would throw himself into the task, mobilize the Qianwu Universe Country, and ensure everything was handled perfectly to satisfy the Galaxy True Master. If he succeeded, this might at last be his chance to climb closer to power.